Welcome everyone to the Solution Podcast. I have with me here Jean-Michel, and welcome everyone to Dismantling the Red Pill. This is a new series that me and John Michel are doing, and basically we're here to break down this red pill philosophy to see if it stands up to scrutiny. To be honest with you, if it's a good philosophy for men in the long run. So yeah, John Michel, before we even start everything, what would you like to say? Because we do have two videos to react to. And today's show, guys, is called Men Have to Sleep with 50 Women. So let's unpack that and see where that takes us. Yes, John Michel. Go ahead, bro.
Well, as I said, I think we spoke earlier on, and I mentioned how it's interesting that I watched the original Matrix yesterday, and that's where I made a point of actually listening really carefully to the scene where Neo is offered the choice between the red pill and blue pill. Because from my understanding, this is where the whole concept of red pill came from, the Matrix.
Mm.
And so I thought, let me listen very carefully to what Morpheus says while he's offering him this pill. And he actually he says basically the pill is truth. That's how
Mm-hmm.
he said the pill is truth. He said that that's basically it's a pill that opens your eyes to being manipulated, being brainwashed by people who want to keep you mentally, you know, dead basically. And
Yeah.
I'm just surmising what he said. And so it made me think about why initially many of us perhaps were drawn to the red pill in its early use.
So you cut off a little bit there. John Michel,
Uh,
can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah, you cut off a little bit
yeah,
there. Can you just repeat what
yeah.
you said?
Sorry. Yeah, well, sorry about that. Yeah, well, many were drawn to the red pill because this was literally something that there's people in society who understand that there is agendas out there, there is manipulation out there by people, by powerful entities, and how we're all being kind of constructed to live our lives a certain way. We all are we're required to compromise ourselves at some level to fit in. And for society to run a certain way, there has to be, the people that orchestrate things have to have men and women operating along, quite predictable lines. And so that's why I think we were drawn to it because we realized that some of these agendas are not actually, they go against, our nature. They go against our especially if you have a belief in God or the Most High or religious beliefs. We start to see how some of the things that we're being taught here in society kind of go against our instincts and go against our religious beliefs, our ancient religious beliefs. So I think that's why a lot of us are drawn to it. You know,
Yeah,
um,
I
you
agree
know,
with you.
yeah,
I think we need to. We talked about this as well. We need to break it down into. There's two sides to this red pill philosophy, and what we want to do is we want to break it down from. And shouts to everyone in the chat. Shouts to everyone joining us in this live today because this is going to be educational, guys. All right, we are doing this to educate you guys. All right, so that you guys go into when you come across the red pill philosophy, you come in with your eyes wide open and you know exactly what's going on and what's being said. So there's two aspects of the red pill that we're going to break down. There's the moral side of things, and there's the practical side of things. And our aim is to show you that it doesn't make sense whether you look at it from the moral side of things or whether you look at it from the practical side of things. It doesn't work. Whichever way you cut it, it doesn't work. And that's I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important for people to know that we're not only coming from one angle, we're coming from different angles.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good way to set it up. So yeah, yeah, I think what we're going to try and do here on on this series is basically try to break down. Well, basically, kind of show where I guess you could say the red pill fell off. What happened to it? Why did people like myself and Nelson realize at some point, after being quite, in terms of how some of the people that were pushing so-called red pill ideas, how initially we may have been um, in agreement with some of the stuff they said, and how over time we've realized, that we started to, our eyes were opened how to some of the stuff, especially as time's gone on, is actually contrary to what the red pill was initially um, teaching. And I think we have to mention Kevin Samuels as well, because I think that was a lot of our introduction to the so-called manosphere and to what people kind of deem as red pill. Kevin Samuels was a person that opened a lot of men's eyes to, a couple of things. I won't go into detail now because that's not really what we're talking about. But I'm just mentioning him because he was actually the gateway to a lot of, even the people that exist now have tipped their hat to Kevin and said, he kind of like opened their eyes, and he was the first one to really become very successful and to have a million plus subscribers pushing some of these so-called red pill ideas. But the ironic thing is, and we'll touch upon this, I'm sure, is that if you look at the red pill now, Kevin Samuel was not red pill. Kevin Samuel was not red pill, and
Yeah,
we're
he
going
was
to we'll talk about why he wasn't, but that will kind of form some of the ideas that we have ourselves in terms of why the red pill is not really conducive to male and female relationships.
absolutely. Kevin Samuels was not red pill. You see, people. One thing people have to bear in mind. All right, there is truth in almost everything, even in the wrong things. All right, the red pill. There truth in the red pill. Absolutely, guys. There is truth in the red pill. But the overall message, the ultimate message, is is basically what I call feminism for men. And people, please, Kevin Samuels was not red pill. Kevin Samuels advocated for marriage. All right. Kevin Samuels was out here truly trying to help people. I truly believe that that's one of the reasons why he was killed, because he was trying to repair the black community. The red pill is not trying to do that. But anyways, listen, guys, we've rambled a bit on the introduction. We're going to get straight into the topic, but it's important, guys. It's important that you understand our stance on the sport. It's important for you to understand where we are coming from with this, because I look at this as lessons that you guys need to learn. All right. So one of the claims that Red Pill makes is that men have to sleep with 50 women. All right. And we have the receipts. We have the evidence. Okay. So we're going to break that down practically and morally to see if it if he's right or wrong. All right. And if he's right, he's right, and if he's wrong, he's wrong. It's that simple. All right. At least you guys are going to go um into the red pill space with your eyes open. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, and by the way, KD, yes, I did reach out to, sorry, Alex reached out to me, and I did send him the link for tonight's show. So he has that link. But he reached out to me about joining on this particular show, sorry, on the dismantling the red pill, because he wants to do that as well. So we're trying to work that out. But I did reach out to him. I did send him the link as well. Hey,
Can I just add something as well before you move on there,
yes,
Nelson?
absolutely, bro, absolutely, go ahead.
I think it's important to look at some of the characters that are being put forward as red pill advocates or leaders. And people can chime in and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But from my understanding, I think a person named Rollo Tomassi, which is an older gentleman, he seems to be what they call the godfather, or specifically the red pill. Um,
Mm,
so this is a man that has written the books. I read half of one of his books, and Behind him, you have other people. You have obviously Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. You have Andrew Tate at one point was associated with the Red Pill.
Yeah.
I don't think he's anymore. Maybe some guys in the chat can give us some more names. There are other men that are associated with the Red Pill. I can't remember all their names, but I know there's channels, lots of channels on YouTube that kind of had Red Pill in their title or in
Oh,
their
there's
kind of
loads.
bio.
Yeah, there's loads, bro.
But I think those two coming at this time at this point in history. I think the biggest channels that are pushing so-called red pill ideology would probably be Royal Tamasi. There's a person that he does a show with. I forget that guy's name. Um, and
Yeah,
Fresh and
I know
Fit,
what you're talking about. Yeah,
specifically Myron. I would say probably the biggest pushers of what we could call red pill at the moment. I mean, other people can chime in with other people, but those are the two ones that come to mind.
I would say Myron, just pearly things. They are
Yeah,
the
good
biggest
one.
push.
Yeah.
They get the most they get the most they bigger than most channels out there trying to copy the red pill formula because that's what it is. If you there's a lot of channels, by the way, guys, a lot of channels that are out here trying to do what the red pill does, inviting women, trying to, just because you don't hear about them, if you don't hear about them, it's because they're not as successful as the as Fresh and Fit and just pearly things that push into the red pill philosophy. But there's actually loads of chance. So this is not something that's unheard of. That, like, men are listening to a lot of the red pill philosophy, guys. There's another guy, I was trying to remember his name. Hold on a second, I'm actually trying to find out who this guy is. No Fugazi podcast, that's another guy. He's coming up on the red pill manosphere type circles. So he's coming up, and his every talking point comes right out of a Myron's mouth, literally. All right. So yes, guys. So Myron has claimed that men, in fact, the entire red pill uh, community has claimed that men need to sleep with 50 women. Sorry, not 50 women necessarily, but you need to sleep with a lot of women in order to understand female nature. That is the claim. In order to understand female nature, you have to sleep with at least 50 women or enough women, um, you know, to understand female nature. Now, at first, when I heard that, I thought that's nonsense because we've got famous guys and rich people who literally have slept with way more. I mean, Tyrese being a good example, who has slept with way more than 50 women, I'm sure, who has a lot of money. And yet he's still marrying women that will take him to divorce courts and so on. He's still making bad decisions when it comes to choosing and picking a woman. So to me, that just says that that's wrong. But before we get into that, before we get into my views about that, let's just react to the video so that people know that we are being fair here, and we are not just misrepresenting people. So hold on a second. All right, I've got a clip here. There's actually several clips of him saying it. Can you see the screen, bro?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
In today's day and age, I agree to a degree that you need to have sex with at least 50 girls as a guy. I talk about that all the time. It's controversial. The reason why I say that is because most women are more promiscuous than most guys. So if you're a dude and you're getting out here and dating girls and you get your pee-pee wet with the first girl, she could sell you a dream and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is great. So guys got to get out there and be sexually experienced. So he's talking from the frame of being attractive.
I think most guys out here are not going to be able to control their sexual urges. So he's saying as a
dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The quickest path to becoming a high value man. Do not get married, avoid family creation, vasectomy in your 20s, live consistently, eliminate all sedations, learn game and networking, play to your strengths, build wealth, resist easing up on your focus. He's talking about increasing your value when you're young.
Becoming successful, yeah.
Becoming successful. In today's day and age.
All right, let's just go to quickly another one.
Okay.
You know, this is not the only time. This is not the only time he said this. Okay, so that you guys can see that we are being completely fair.
I say all the time, in today's day and age, you shouldn't be getting married until you're at least 35.
That was my
man.
next question
As a
for you.
man.
As a man, what age
What
should
about
you
women?
consider getting married?
So I have this is my thing that I tell guys.
Yeah.
I think 35 years old, had slept with at least 50 women, 100K per year. You're in shape, and you got 6 months to 1 year of savings.
All right, done. I got to get married. I've done all that.
Myron is actually against marriage. The overall message actually goes against marriage.
What's interesting, Nelson, is that the first clip was. I'm glad you showed the first clip, because that first clip, it showed his belief in terms of what he thinks people who follow the red pill should be doing, but it also highlighted Rollo Tomas's belief in terms of he had a specific list, which is not only does it include that whole 50 men, also he talks about having a vasectomy as well. So let me break down why I think the first part in terms of the 50 men is doesn't make any sense. Okay, so my thing is this: the people that push red pill, the thing that they always warn men about and to avoid is promiscuous women or modern women. Okay, a modern woman to them is a woman that doesn't value men outside of what the man can offer them. So men essentially are nothing more than commodities to them. And that's where the simp culture comes from, and they always warn against men becoming involved in simp culture.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, getting involved in relationships where the man is doing everything, spending his money, his time, his resources, and the woman is not offering anything back. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is part of what they believe, that men need to be wary of these modern women who are more likely to do that. Okay. All right. They also have an issue with women who are promiscuous. They use the term 304s, etc., to address women who are promiscuous. Okay. Now let's put what he wants to his instructions to men about. Let's say we're all supposed to sleep with 50 women before the ages of 35. Let's say you have a small town, Nelson, and every man with equal amount of women and men, let's say, and every man follows this advice: sleep with 50 women, do not commit to any of them until you're 35, and then marry someone. And the person they marry can't be part of those 50 women that they slept with. That in itself presents a conundrum. Because then who are you gonna? If you're sleeping with 50 women, how do you know the woman that you're going with wasn't part of the 50 that another guy slept with? That's just one issue. The second issue is if you have men just doing that, treating women essentially as sex objects, are just women to sleep with on a temporary basis, moving on to the next one, in a relatively short space of time. First of all, you're creating a whole community of women who are going to be used to being used and abused. Right? Why would a woman in that town have any respect for any man, knowing that all you men in this town are following the advice of a man that tells you to sleep with as much women as you can in a short space of time? We know how that would pan out in society and what society would look like if that was to happen. The same women that they complain about, they're creating by doing that.
It's literally happening right now.
Yeah, the same women that they're complaining about, when you follow the advice of having men sleep with 50 women before they get married, you're creating the same type of women. Because you need to have women that have got no morals, no sense of their own self-worth, are promiscuous. You need that to complete your task of 50 women. That's the ironic thing about it. The same women that they constantly badger and say are undesirable and mock are the women that they need to fulfill their so-called 50 women before marriage.
Do you know what?
The first part. Let's make this point. This is the first part of how ridiculous it is. The second part is this: we will be young men. You understand what it takes to get into that situation with women where you're dating them and you want to sleep with them. As young men, we've all been through that stage. Okay, it involves what? Your time and your resources. Yes, your time and your resources. So you're telling me that 50, if you're going through, if you have a set thing of 50 women, and you're dealing with women where you know all you want to do is sleep with them, you're gonna have to push that agenda on the woman, and you're gonna do it by spending money and time and resources with that woman, because a lot of women, you know that a lot of women are fooled by that, the lies and the spending of money. What character are you building in yourself as a man if you do that 50 times in a row? How does that corrupt the man doing that? This is again ironic because they talk about simp culture. That's simp culture. That's literally simp culture. Spending money for sex. Then you sleep with her, you go to the next one. Spending money for sex. Okay, but Myra will tell you that he doesn't do dating. Good luck trying to sleep with 50 women without dating any of them. That's not realistic. Unless you're going for literally like bottom of the barrel. And again, what does a man's reputation look like after you've done all this sleeping around? Then you want to meet the woman you want to marry, and you don't want those women. You want the wholesome women. Well, let me tell you something, Nelson. Wholesome women come from wholesome families, usually with wholesome men around. What wholesome father is going to look at you with your reputation, knowing that you're a man that slept with 50 women in the town? Now you want to marry his daughter? What man is going to allow you to get anywhere near his daughter?
Not me, not me,
Not me
not
either.
me.
This is
Not
what I'm
me.
saying. This
But
doesn't make any sense. And when you break it down, it goes to show that these people, these men, all they do, and this is interesting because this new red pill philosophy comes from the whole the pickup thing that they used to do online, with it, how to pick up girls type of content, and that's what it's gone back to now. It's just a pickup artist thing, how to get girls, how to sleep with girls. It doesn't address any issues in the society. It doesn't have an end in terms of a conclusion, a life conclusion where at the end of everything, you're living a comfortable life, a successful life with a good reputation as a man. Remember, Kevin always spoke about what a high value man is, and you always spoke about a man's reputation and character as being very important. It wasn't just the money, it was the reputation and character. You cannot have good reputation if you're known for going from women to women to women to women just to sleep with them, and 50 of them at that. That doesn't build good reputation with anyone.
exactly. And just to add to what you're saying, because you're absolutely right. You broke it down. Um, uh, what it ends up happening when it comes to sleeping with 50 women is you end up creating the very women that you yourself, that the red pill themselves say that men shouldn't date or that men should only use. Okay. You gave the example of a small town, but to be honest with you, we can look at the West just in the last 60 years. That's what's basically happened to the West. Given enough time, women, if you keep sleeping with loads of women, if you keep endorsing this idea that a man should sleep around, which we know where it came from, this idea that it's okay to sleep around, it came from the sexual revolution, which created the hookup culture. And what it did is it created a culture that told men and women that it's okay to sleep around. And that's exactly what created the type of women that uh the red pill that the red pill is against. Okay, promiscuous women. Well, if you're sleeping with 50 women, by the time you settle down, as if that's possible, all right, and we're going to get into that as well. But by the time you sleep with 50 women, imagine every man in society aspiring to sleep with 50 women. What what decent women will there be left? Seriously, think about it. Yeah, what decent woman
Well,
is there
Nelson,
going to
if you
be
got
left?
50 men, if you got 50 men following this, and you have
Mm,
50 women that come up, that woman will end up with a 50 body count.
Yes,
Potentially.
and we know, women that have slept with a lot of men are less attractive. The red pill does talk about that. It's funny. It's funny because they contradict themselves all over the place.
Yep.
It's very childish as well because they speak as if they don't have no responsibility towards society. They
Mm.
they look at society as, look at what's going on. It's really bad. These girls are really bad. So instead of saying, you know what, let's work towards making society better. And how do we make society better? By telling men to stop trying to achieve a 50 body count, to tell women to reserve their sexuality, to tell women to not going around and sleep around. They're doing the opposite. They speak as if they don't have no responsibilities towards society. Me, as a man that I want to produce good women in the future. This is what I really want. But for me to produce a lot of women and good women in the future, I can't be going around and sleeping with them, because me, if I was to ask myself, what do I want as a man? If I was to ask myself a simple question, and I can ask this question to any man out there, what do you want? Do you want a woman with 50 body count or a woman with 5 body count? All right. What would most men, what would be the answer of most men? They would turn around and say they want a woman with 5 body count. No one wants a woman that slept with 50 men. What if I turned around and said, how about a woman that slept with 1 compared to a woman that slept with 5? He'll keep going down, bro. He'll keep going down. Most men don't want a woman with a high body count, let alone even 5 body count. So why would you advise men to go out there? Well,
and these
the
are the
reason he
same men.
gives, hold on,
Go
the
ahead.
reason
You
he
go ahead.
gives is to protect, is for men to protect themselves against these type of women in society. All right, these promiscuous women, and so we, now that we know that promiscuous women are not desirable. They're not desirable. Most men don't actually want to marry with them. They might want to have sex with them, but they don't actually want to marry them. Now that we know that most women, promiscuous women are not desirable, why would you, encourage this type of behavior if you know the end results will be to create more promiscuous women? Doesn't make sense, bro.
And as I was saying, the, the thing about it is that if you have, they're very big on, men are the leaders. Men, what do they say? Men build the society that women exist in, or words to that effect.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. But if we're the leaders and we're the ones that's supposed to be setting an example for everyone, how does it? Because if you have a system where men are trying to get these 50 body count before they're 35, if you get that in, that's literally, that becomes part of the culture, because men lead the culture. So you're creating a culture now where women are literally going to be coerced into being promiscuous. And then at the same time, you want to have these, some here, I don't know where, maybe they want to build an island in the middle of a city, maybe just an island where they have select women and just keep them on their island. Keep them shut off from everything. Don't give them any internet. Don't give them anything. No TV. And when I finish with the 50, I'll jump on this island, and this woman's going to be one of the pure, like, she hasn't been untouched. It doesn't work that way, bro. If we're creating a culture, of that type of lifestyle, where are you going to find these wholesome women? All the women are going to be corrupted. I mean, no, women have very much of a hive mind already. So they're going to be corrupted by these women that you're using for sexual gratification. Remember also, I spoke about the money that you're spending to sleep with these women. Because remember, a lot of the people that follow, and I'm sorry to say it, a lot of the people that follow some of this red pill stuff, they have a very incel type of lifestyle to me, right? They don't look the type of guys that when I was growing up, they would have been comfortable just going out in the street or going out to a party and just easily, casually chatting up a woman, which is what we did growing up. They don't seem to be men that can do that. These are the type of men that seem to be drawn to this red pill stuff. I'm sorry to say, but this is what I'm seeing. I'm not talking about the Kevin Samuels days. I'm talking about how things are now. A lot of the people following now probably wouldn't have been able to relate with what Kevin Samuels was saying anyway. They probably wouldn't be able to relate. So this new wave of young men that are following this stuff, they're the men that would struggle to get. They would really struggle to get that 50 body count. Let's keep it real. They would struggle to get 50 body count without
Yep.
having to resort to spending. Just keep it real. They're gonna have to resort to spending.
It's fact. So just want to give a quick shout to CJ. CJ, I see you, bro. Hope you're good. Hope you're enjoying the live as well. And guys, we are dropping jewels here. All right. Listen carefully, because bro, you mentioned the practical side. The practical side of and I want to delve into that. The practical side of actually what it means to date 50 women. All right. And you made a very important point. All right. Because listen, when it comes to the moral side, but on just the practical side, if you think you're going to sleep with 50 women, just break down, right, what it takes to, to sleep with 50 women. And let me tell you something. If that's your real goal, yeah, imagine that's your goal in life, to really sleep with 50 women. You're gonna have to approach way more than 50 women. That's the first thing you need to understand. Yeah, you're gonna have to approach way more than 50 women for you to get to 50 women, for you to sleep with 50 women. Now imagine what that would entail. Just imagine. You have to imagine the time that you would have to put towards achieving that endeavor. Imagine the time, the money, the the headache.
And I have to add, just a quick
Yeah, go ahead.
interruption. We have to add that again. If we're talking about someone like, I don't know, Will Smith or someone like, okay, he might be able to do it,
Oh,
spending
easy.
minimal,
Yeah,
spending a
easy.
minimal amount of money. But we're talking
Yeah.
about the average dude out there. Good luck with that. Good luck going out there and jumping from 50 women, and the women that they want to get. Good luck. Good luck going to these type of women that would entertain that type of interaction of, okay, I understand that this is going to be a short term thing, and okay, what are you going to do? Also, what's going to happen too is you're going to also develop a lot of gold diggers, because if you've got a culture of men doing this, women are going to think, okay, so we've got all these men out here, and they're not looking for anything long term. They've got this 50, because women are not stupid. Women talk. They've got this 50. All these men have got this 50. They want to get 50. Okay, we'll let you get to 50, but you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for it. All right. Women are not stupid out here. Especially these young women. They're not stupid. They'll be like, oh, you one of those ones that want to do that 50 thing. Okay, yeah, you can get peace, but you're gonna pay for it though. And what's the
Yeah,
man gonna do? He's gonna pay.
he's gonna pay. And,
He
and,
needs to get that 50.
and
He
that's
needs to get
literally
because Myron told him he needs 50 before 35. So he's gonna pay. Then he's gonna pay again. Then he's gonna pay again.
remember as well that between that time there, when up to the age of 35, that's the time when a man should be making himself. That's when a man should be concentrating in making something of himself, so that one day he can have a family. All right. Now remember, he's trying to achieve the goal of sleeping with 50 women. All right. Now this is not just one man. We can look at one man, but imagine we've got a whole society of men and they have this goal. All right. Imagine the time that's going to take away from you becoming something in life. Imagine imagine what you have to sacrifice in order to achieve this goal, and imagine the reaction of it. All right. First of all, no high value, no men of any high value status, yeah, is going to spend that amount of time in that endeavor and achieve anything of success in life, unless you get lucky, unless you've got a special skill in football or something like that. But no one's going to spend so much time trying to sleep with 50 women. yeah, and at the same time become successful in what they try to do and be successful at becoming a man who makes a lot of money, a man who's established, and so on and so forth. So that's actually not a good advice for young men,
No.
because what he's telling them is sacrifice. All right, sacrifice the time that you should be concentrating and becoming a man that one day will take care of a family, and go and chase these women and create the very type of women in society that one day his own son will not want to marry.
Mm.
Because as you said, a woman will turn around. Women are not stupid. They're going to look at the
Nope.
situation and they're going to say,
Okay.
okay,
I'm not getting it long term from here. I'm not
yeah,
going to
yeah,
get married from here. I'm not going to
exactly.
get a long term relationship from here. So I'm going to get what I'm going to get, and that's these
The, the
resources.
attitude will be, okay, these men just want sex, all right, because apparently they want to understand female nature. That's what Myron said. So these men want sex. Okay, well, what do women want? Women want attention and resources. We're going to use them for money, we're going to use them for attention. Isn't that what's happening? Isn't this the current culture right now, that men and look at how it's happening? Men are funding the sex industry, okay, through corn, through OnlyFans, through taking these women out, and women, now that men are not expecting, men don't want to marry, men are not interested in marriage, they would rather sleep around with different women. Guess what? They taking the attention and the resources. And that's exactly what's currently happening now. So how is that a solution for young men coming up? Please explain that to me, because it doesn't make
Uh,
sense. Now, if just this last point, if to me the solution would be men would turn around and say, listen, we want better women in the future. So we can't endorse this type of behavior, because if we endorse this type of behavior, it's only going to create more women looking for more attention and more resources from us. So we need to change our behavior so that these women can understand that what we are looking for is women that we can one day call mothers and wives. I think that's a better solution. You don't encourage the problem. That's what the red pill philosophy does, encourages the problem.
again, I'm going to go back to Kevin Samuels, because what Kevin Samuels used to say was, he used to talk a lot about men having sexual restraint, and how valuable it is for a man to have, especially a young man, because of the risk. And that's another thing we haven't touched on, Nelson. Pregnancy. If you're out
Mhm.
here jumping from women to women to women, yeah, and you want to get 50 women, and you're rushing around, I need to get these 50 women. The likelihood of you having a mistake and impregnating one of these women, there's a risk there. Okay, which is why Kevin Samuel spoke about sexual restraint, because that reduces the risk of you impregnating someone you do not want to have a long-term relationship with. But if you're out here running from women to women to women to women to women as a young man, then you're most virile with women that are they're most virile too. The likelihood of you having a baby is very high, very very high.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, I don't think these guys are really. I mean, as I said, it does. They haven't thought it through. It's just a way for them to exercise their lust. Because I realize at this point now, the red pill is just a pickup thing now. It's just about picking up women to sleep with. How the best way to pick up women to have sex with. And going back to the character that said it, this Myron, this is a guy that was on sugar sites, sugar daddy sites, talking about, I'm looking for a girlfriend. Uh, this is the type of person people are taking advice from. What young man goes on a sugar daddy site just to get a woman to sleep with? Weird.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned something very important, brother. Abortion. If you're sleeping around, that increases the chances of abortion. Okay,
Yeah.
increases the
Yep.
chance of killing babies in the womb, and that's I know people these days don't care about that, but that's extremely important. if you know the consequences of abortion. Very important. So now you have to understand. Look, I'm reading this book. Well, it's almost done really. Betty Friedan, a feminist, and she actually talks about. She proudly says in the book that she attributes the reason why marriages have declined is because she proudly says this, by the way, marriages have declined because of the pill, and she attributes the main reason as the pill. Okay, when the pill doesn't work, what do you have? She's one of the biggest advocate for the legalization of abortion. And what I'm basically saying here, guys, when you create a culture that encourages you to go around and sleep with each other, all right, which by the way is what the red pill philosophy is currently doing. It's funny how it ties in with feminism. Feminism created a culture, and now the red pill is pushing it even harder on men. Okay, they created the culture for women, and now men have base. Red pill is helping it to create for men, and we've seen what it has done. We've seen how many. We've seen that the abortion rises every year. It's now reached 73 million worldwide. Okay, so hookup culture. I mean, just look at you're trying to sleep with 50 women.
It is hookup culture. You're right. It is hookup culture.
How many mistakes you think everything's gonna go smooth sailing? How many of these women do you think are going to get at least 10%, at least 10%, which means you just added to the amount of abortion that takes place every single year. You've amounted to the problem. Yeah. Yes, bro.
Right now, what? Okay, Myro. Going back to why Myro thinks this is a good idea. His excuse is that men need to be experienced, so they
I
don't
see.
get duped. So they don't get duped by women. Okay, you can get experience without having to have a set number of 50 women. You can get experience, yes, from dating and being with women. I'm not saying that. But this putting a number on it is ridiculous, and also putting such a I would say for up to 35, quite a high number. Okay, on it, you can get your information from doing what a lot of young people doing now. They're from observing. You can just observe and see what type of women you should be looking for long term, and what you shouldn't be looking for long term. Case in point, we spoke earlier on today about this show that's coming out, the Baddies UK. We spoke about that earlier on. Uh,
Yeah.
that look at that show, and a young man can say, "Those are not the type of women I want to have a long-term relationship with." You don't need to sleep with 50 of them to find that out.
No,
You
no, you
can just
don't.
use your brain. Okay, you could.
Yeah,
There's
bro.
ways you could negotiate through life without having to put yourself in danger. Because that's another thing. We haven't even no. So again, we haven't spoken about STDs.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too.
All
There's
these
that.
men sleeping around with the same women that you're sleeping around with. That's a hotbed for STDs too.
That's right. Yep. Shouts to Alex. Alex just joined us in the chat. Shouts to you, bro. Wish you were here to represent the red pill or to give some pushback. Because we are trying to find whether men having to do men really have to sleep with 50 women in order to understand female nature. And I actually want to get into this question, and you're alluding to it already, but Alex goes 50 bodies is a guide, not a hard and fast rule. It is supposed to represent the fact that men need experience with women and not go into relationships blindly.
Well, I have to push back on that, Nelson, because first
Oh,
of
me
all, Nelson, Myron specifically said 50 over and over and over again. He uses that number 50 over and over again. He doesn't say about 50 or approximately 50. He says 50, and he says it many times. So I'm taking him what he says. He's not
Yeah,
giving an approximate number.
I would
And
have
also,
to. Yeah, sorry.
as I just said too, you can get experience without having to do that. You do not have to go put yourself in that type of financial health and potential pregnancy situation. To find out how women tick and how you can do that by having some experience. Obviously, I'm not saying you're going to be a virgin. Having some experience, okay, fair enough, you know, but you do not have to push it to those type of numbers. And you can find other ways. Speak to other men. Speak to men who are a bit older than you. Observe, look around, see what it can do. See, look at society. See what are characteristics you want to avoid from women in long-term relationships, and what characteristics you want to have a woman to have for you to want to potentially have her in a long-term relationship. You can use your brain and use your smarts about you without having to put yourself in this type of issue of sleeping with 50 women.
I have a slightly different take. Remember, the reason why Myron says you have to sleep with 50 women is because it's to understand female nature. That's the reason why he understands. He says that women these days are highly promiscuous, so therefore, the more experience you have, the better the better it will be for you. You'll be in a better position to deal with them. Okay, that's his logic. The reason why, because I don't even agree men sleeping with women at all before marriage. All right, and I don't even believe in this idea of experience. Um, the reason why that logic fails is because why would you want to deal with a highly promiscuous woman? Remember how he's is characterizing these women. He's saying that these are highly promiscuous women. So I'm assuming that after you've slept with 50 women, then the kind of women that you would deal with would be one of these type of women, one of these highly promiscuous women. Because remember what he's saying sleep with 50 women in order to understand female nature, because these women are hypersexual. They will take advantage of you, and in order for you to protect yourself, you need to sleep with 50 women. So that entails that you will be dealing with this type of women, that you will marry this type of woman, that you would choose a woman like that to be your wife in the future. I would never choose a promiscuous woman for a wife. I don't know who I don't know who I don't know who among you dreams of marrying a woman who's highly promiscuous, who's highly aggressive, who's a feminist, who wants to be a man, whose body count probably is 200 and 300. Who among you wants to deal with that type of woman? I don't. As a man who believes in religion, that's not something that we would go for, because, well, the Bible tells us not to go for those type of women. So to me, I find it to be absolutely absurd, because you should not be trying to sleep or set you should not try to settle with a promiscuous woman. And Myron, in essence, what he's saying is, listen, guys, sleep with 50 women so that you can be better prepared in the future for these type of women, implying that you would have to settle with one of these women. Why would you want to settle with a woman like that? And I think that is the problem. Men are settling with these modern women with modern values, and they are wondering why the relationship doesn't work in the future. Of course, it doesn't work. She's highly promiscuous, guys. Um, Jean-Michel just came out. I think he's going to come back in a minute, guys. Yeah, so that's why the 50 bodies doesn't actually make sense, Alex. There he is back on again.
Sorry about that. Yeah, kind of thing. Sorry.
Yeah, you see, that's to me, bro, that's why it doesn't make sense to me, because it implies you will settle with a woman like that. I don't want to settle with that type of woman. What men on earth wants to settle with a woman that's highly promiscuous? Who?
Yeah, and as I was saying before, the thing is, what are you actually going to learn about female nature doing this? You're getting with women with the sole purpose of sleeping with them for a short period of time and moving on. There's nothing. What are you? You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to see the goodness in her. You haven't seen the goodness in her from the initial point because you only see her as someone to sleep with. So you're not even looking for the goodness in her in terms of learning about female nature. All you're using her for is sex. Once she recognizes that's all you're gonna use her for, you're not gonna see. All you're gonna see is the bad parts of her nature, not the good parts. And that's all you should be seeing anyway. Because if you treat people that way, why is a woman going to show you the goodness of herself when she knows what your agenda is? So what you're going to end up doing is becoming, as a male, you're going to become very bitter because the more you do this and the more you just sleep with women for that with that agenda, you're going to come across woman after women who recognizes what you're doing, and they're going to say, you know what? Okay, this is all you want. I'm going to get something out of it, which will probably be your time and resources. And I'm not going to commit any, I'm not going to show you any goodness in me because I'm not going to be exploited here, emotionally exploited. So you're not going to see what there's nothing to learn from this. What are you essentially learning? It's not like you come into a relationship with good intentions. Enter a relationship with a woman with good intentions where you're actually trying to develop a long term relationship. Then you might learn more about female nature. Enter a relationship where you know very well that you want a short term situation so you can move on to the next one. There's nothing to learn. What are you going to learn?
But bro, I think
Apart from becoming bitter yourself.
yeah, the assumption is that female nature is bad, basically.
Seems
So
like it.
you need to understand female nature. No, I don't, because that's the assumption that's being made here. You need to understand female nature in order to protect yourself. So implying that female nature is somehow bad, so that once you understand it, you can protect yourself and so on and so forth. No, just like men, it depends on what kind of woman you're picking. It depends on what type of woman you're picking. If you pick a woman that enjoys going to clubs, that enjoys dressing next to nothing, that enjoys male attention, then yes, you are most likely to get problems. Problems are more likely to come out of that. All right. Why would you choose that type of woman? That's the problem. Is that you're choosing the wrong woman, and then you're saying, "Oh, that's female nature." That's not female nature. I know that. I know that. Without getting personal, I know that. As personally, I know that, and no one can tell me anything because I come from a. I look at my family, and they pick good women. Put it that way. Like I'm talking about the people that came before me. All right, and we have a good example of what a good woman is and what a good woman isn't. The problem is most men are so indoctrinated, are so lustful that they just go for these women that are prepared to give them that sexual attention quickly, and then they moan that this woman is not necessarily a good woman, and then they try to claim that this is female nature. No, this is not female nature. All right, this is a woman that's gone astray, that's doing bad things, and you chose her, and now you are complaining about the consequences of your choices. Alex says you are assuming society is still savable. I'm not sacrificing men's money, time, and entire being for a minuscule percentage chance at happiness. That's actually very, very interesting. Thanks for that, Alex. Shout out to you for that
You
point.
know why that's so interesting? Because what he's saying there, I can respect more than the red pill ideology. And because what that is to me, that's a kind of like a doomsday type of scenario he's painting. There
It is.
literally is no hope. So if there's no hope for any kind of happiness for a male, then yeah, you might as well just use women for sex. That's not what these red pill are saying.
That's it.
That's not what they're saying. They said there's a rainbow. They still paint this rainbow after all this. There's a rainbow at the end of it, whether you become happily married. This is what they say to men. Do all that, find your woman, live happily ever after with your beautiful, wholesome wife and your children, and that's all in the past. If they stuck to what Alex is saying there, then I would respect it more. Because that is realistically what they're doing. Alex is realistically saying this is their mindset. There is no chance of happiness for a man, so just use women for sex. Just keep it real and say that then.
You know, Alex, thanks for your honesty, because that is the final conclusion. That is red pill. That's the final conclusion of red pill. These women are not worth saving. Um, and so I'm not going to spend my time. I'm not going to spend my money on them. Trying to find a small percentage of good women. So you know what? Just use them for sex. And this is what I say about the red pill philosophy. This is what I've always said about the red pill philosophy. It's sexual slavery. It's basically turning women into sexual slaves. Now I've given the perfect solution to this. Men, listen, as leaders, we have to make some sacrifices because we have to hold ourselves accountable. We participated in this hookup culture that created these type of women. Did feminism sparked it? Yes. Did men participate in it? Yes. You think these women just started requiring attention and money from men out of nowhere? No, it was because men were lustful enough to give it to them. Because they gave it to them, they created the type of culture that we currently have right now. This is why I always say, and Alex, quote me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did tell you, if every man today, let's just say hypothetically speaking, if every man today was to stop funding the sex industry, stop paying for OnlyFans, stop showing women attention, stop chasing women, stop trying to impress them and all of that, where would women get their attention and resources from? Not from us. They would be forced to change. They would be forced to basically say, you know what, I need to find out what they really want. So far, when women look at men, this is what we want. So they give us what we want because these are the things that we are paying for. So, yes, to me,
Right.
do I think society is still savable? Not for the degenerates. The degenerates, I welcome them to all self-destruct. Go ahead, die out. I don't care. I'm not sitting here caring about. This is for the people that are going to make different choices, because these people, the ones that are not going to behave like most men, are going to survive. Most men are not creating legacy. They are dying out because they are chasing after lust. Okay, so society will continue regardless. Society will continue regardless, but only for those that want to continue their lineage, their legacy. And for you to do that, you have to make good moral choices. If you don't, you're going to end up like everyone else, self-destructing and dying out without no legacy. That's it. And using women for sex only, which is what men are doing today anyway, just using women for sex. That's it.
There's that's an interesting comment that I just put up there, but there's a little bit of irony there because it talks about society. Are we assuming society is still savable? And then it mentions about men. Men, I'm not sacrificing men. We made it unsavable. Yeah,
Thank you.
we made it unsavable potentially, and we're sacrificing our own money, time, and money, time, and entire being for. We are doing it. So if we're the ones that have done this, we've created this system. Who are going to be the ones to bring it back, bring order around? It has to be back to the men,
Thank
which is
you.
what Nelson is saying. This is why my motto, Nelson. It starts with the man. That's my hashtag. It
It
starts with
starts
the
with
men.
the men. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
hashtag right there.
So what the philosophy that we've been speaking about, it literally sacrifices men's money, time, and entire being for a minuscule 0.5% of happiness. That's what the philosophy teaches. You're sacrificing your time, money to have sex with a woman that you don't really feel for, to go on to another woman to do the same thing, to go on to another woman to do the same thing. That is sacrificing men's happiness and men's money and men's time and their being. That philosophy is doing it. So it's ironic that he puts that message is there because that literally is what the philosophy is doing. This is what it meant to sacrificing when you do that. When you follow that philosophy of being basically promiscuous until you think it's okay to find the woman of your dreams after you knocked up this high body count, you've sacrificed your happiness. Because I can tell you right now, people forget, there's this idea that men, like, we're robots, that men are robots, that we don't have feelings or emotions. I guarantee you follow this way of thinking, jumping from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next, while spending your time, money, and resources, you're going to be a very jaded, bitter man at the end of it. You're going to be, and human nature is, you're going to perhaps fall for one of those women too. You're going to fall for one of those women. But because you went in as an arsehole, she'd be like, oh, now you want to get serious? No. Because you came in, you didn't come in real. I can't trust you no more. I'll forget you, I'm going to go to the next one. But don't think that psychologically you don't know you messed up there. You missed one out. You missed a good one there.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
it's setting up a lot of hazardous situations where you could be messing up. And not only that, you could potentially be messing up another. This so-called brotherhood they talk about. You're messing up women for your brotherhood. You come across a good woman, you treat her like crap, okay? The other brother comes along, he does the same thing. Then the other brother comes along, he does the same thing. What happens to her then?
Exactly.
As
we know
you said, she becomes useless. She becomes just a sexual object.
she becomes sexual. She
And
becomes a sexual slave.
women are weaker psychologically, so they start to act out that way.
Yeah.
They act out that way, and they start to influence other people that way. As you mentioned, what about your son growing up now? What kind of woman are you looking for your son to interact with?
Guess
It's
what?
very selfish. It's a very selfish incel mindset. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. So
And it's
basically,
not men. A real man that has an understanding of responsibility, not just for himself, but for his environment, does not think this way.
yeah.
Sorry,
This is
Nathan,
basically what you'd have to tell your son. Sorry, son. My generation of men decided to mess it all up for your generation because we slept with all of the women, because we went around trying to follow Myron's advice on. So we went around sacrificing our money, our time, our entire being to get a little bit of pleasure in the hopes of understanding female nature. In the pursuit of sacrificing our money, our time, and our entire being, we left you with no good women left. Why? Because we did all of this thinking that we are understanding female nature, just to realize that in the end we had no good women left, because they were all spoiled. And as you know, son, I don't like a promiscuous woman. So
and we
dad,
didn't learn anything.
yeah, so dad, why did you follow that advice? Well, son, he said that that would make me understand female nature, but in the end, I just ended up broke chasing women. Listen to what you're saying, Alex. Men are right now sacrificing money, time, and then the entire being trying to sleep with 50 women or thereabouts. Even forget the number 50, even 30, even 35. Do you know? Because people think, yeah, I'm going to sleep with 50 women and that's it. Do you know what it means to trying to sleep with 50 women? You're probably going to have to speak to 200 women, okay, before you get to the 50. That's how much time, that's how much money will go into the pursuit of so-called understanding female nature, which is absolute nonsense. Because I would never marry a woman with modern values. If men were smart, they would say, the same way I don't like, you don't have to be religious for this, guys. The same way I don't want a woman who has a high body count is the same way I won't marry one. Okay? If you're not attracted to a woman of a high body count, why would you marry one?
Well, they
eschew.
say they won't. That's the whole thing.
It's,
In this weird utopia, make believe world that Myron thinks exists. After all this, he's gonna float back to Sudan, and I guess that's we can all go that. Let's all do that then. Let's go back to Sudan and corrupt the poor women. And I said, go there. Let someone let you go to go with a bad reputation of sleeping with these women, and go to some of these fathers and present yourself as someone that your father would you better you better go there with a body armor. Yeah, you better go to the house with body armor because you think some of these fathers are going to allow you to, after all this mayhem that you've been doing out in society, to go and now have their daughter up and that nonsense. And then you're talking this talk about, oh, she won't be the only one. I would have a few more too. Okay, yeah, not with my daughter, if you will. Someone else's.
but it's fun. It's funny. It's funny. It's very interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that, bro, because it's very interesting. Myron, look what he's doing the opposite. He's not gonna stick around here and choose a promiscuous woman to settle down with. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to fly out somewhere else to find his wives. He's going to fly out in a culture that does not promote men to sleep with 50 women. So he is in the West right now, telling men sleep with 50 women, mess up your woman completely, make them more promiscuous, make them more unmarriageable. Or and when it comes down to him, he's gonna go to
I'll go back.
he's gonna go to the society that tells men, that tells their women when he goes to that society tells their women don't sleep around. that society tells it's called the complete.
So the so-called West that they're very quick on condemning. The West is going downhill. The West is finished. The West is dead. He wants to go and help to further corrupt it. This is someone from another culture that wants to come into the West, corrupt it more by putting in a promiscuous ideology and turning women into sex slaves. Leave that mess for the men there. He leaves and goes back to the culture where he won't do it, that's not allowed, and live happily ever after. Now, what I said to you, Nelson, before, I find it weird that these men from these Western societies that interact with him don't say to him, bro, you're taking the piss out of us and our women. How would you like it if we then went to Sudan and started implementing the 50 rule there? Would you like it then? You wouldn't like it. But you're over here doing it?
No,
they
would
here
just
promoting it?
they would just shoot us if we were if men went to Sudan,
deservedly so.
If the men went to Sudan and stopped promoting what Myron's promoting in the West, they would just shoot you straight. They'll say, listen, we know what kind of women this would create in our society.
Right.
We don't want these. I don't want my son to marry these type of women. So you're not going to come with this philosophy. Take it back to the West. We don't need it around here. That's it. Right. That's what they would tell him. Alex says, I do want to address this one, bro. This is crazy. OG, not realistic, unless you want to live like the.
What does that mean, OG?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Unless you want to live like the Amish, if every man wanted to do that, it wouldn't be realistic. Okay, unless you want to live like the Amish, if every man wanted to do that, it wouldn't be realistic. Alex decided to join. The heat got too much for him. Okay, let me just bring shout outs to Alex. Alex, good to see you.
Man. Sorry, I had a lot of stuff.
It got too much.
I didn't catch the last 15 to like 20 minutes of what you were saying. If you want me to push back on anything, just like
yeah. Okay. Do you want us to address this point where you said it's not realistic unless you want to live in
relationship? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I do want you to live like the Amish. Is it realistic? No, because men are sexualized to the point. Men are so sexualized nowadays, and there is nothing in culture to push back against it. All right. You might still have religion, but even that is dying down in the West. because there's so much influence for men to be promiscuous. All right, so men are generation after generation they're being consistently sexualized, and yes, it's unrealistic. It's not realistic. But what will also not be realistic for these men is that they will not procreate, they will not leave legacies, they will die alone, and so on and so forth. If they start living like the Amish, which is very unrealistic, they would actually create better women in the future. They would actually create a better world in the future. They would create better women that could for their sons in the future. But of course, can they drastically morally change their ways and, and be celibate until marriage and demand virginity, demand all these good things? Probably not. Okay, this is why I say I don't feel sorry for none of these guys. These guys are all going to die out. I'm doing this for the guys that haven't been completely corrupted by this overly hedonistic culture. This is what I'm talking to. For those guys that are past that, well, they're just gonna die out. All right, and that's it. It's fine. It's life, isn't it? Jean-Michel, do you want to add to this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually want to ask Alex a question
Yeah.
because we spoke about the 50 body count thing that Myra puts forward, and I know you said that it's you think it's more of a approximate roundabout thing, but I want you to just imagine that because Myra does stick to be fair, he does use that figure a lot, and he doesn't say roundabout. He literally says 50. So what if you
No,
can
he
you let
doesn't.
us know? Well, from what I've seen, he uses
Yeah.
50.
So I
But
mean, the thing is,
even the quotes that Nelson put up, on both of those things, he said 50. He
no,
said
it,
he said he said I want men to sleep with 15 minutes. He said it on his show and the other show. He used 50 as a number.
he uses
We
50
can
because
play
it's
again.
not.
We can play again.
It,
We can play
yeah.
again.
Because it's not realistic for him to say in each and every video, oh, 50 is just a yardstick measurement. 50 is just so it's easier to just say 50. But I can, which is why I was saying, like, if you really want me to do research on this, I can go back and try and pull up, because if you're watching him saying that it's 50, those exact words verbatim, then you're probably only watching a certain they have different shows, right? So you're probably only watching After Hours. You're not watching like the Friday call-in show where the guests call in and they try and clarify what he means. He has said numerous. I can guarantee you this, right? Because I've heard it as well. And I got a bit, weirded out when he said 50. Not because I saw anything wrong with it, but because like I just didn't think that the average guy in general, had the time or the resources or whatever to go after 50 people. But there's nothing more intrinsically morally wrong with it. And that's why he did clarify in one of his shows. I'll try and find the clip.
Okay, well, what I want to ask you, Alex, is this: he wouldn't have a problem if let's say I said to Myron, okay, Myron, I'm actually going to go for the 50. He, as a young man, he would tell us, oh no, don't do that. That's too many. He'll say, okay, go for it. Go for 50 if you can do it. Okay, he would do that. Okay, now I would ask you a question as a young man. Please go step by step and tell me how you, as a young man, would achieve with practical advice, a step by step guide on how you can sleep with 50 women by the time you're 35.
Well, that's why they have shows like Money Mondays, where you actually, because remember, the whole premise of being able to sleep with 50 women is based on the fact that you are first that guy. Fresh and Fit and Myron, especially, every single red pillar out there says that if you are not that guy and you can't hold frame, money, muscles, whatever all those four things are, I don't really have a name for them, but if you don't have the capabilities to do it, then don't. You shouldn't. So, I mean, it depends. And this is where a lot of trad cons and a lot of blue pillars miss out on, which is when he says that if you can't do it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
How long would it take?
So hold on, so let me just push on that. So You have to have the money and the muscles and the finances and all that. Okay, so you've got that as a young age. Miraculously, you managed to have all that by a young man. That happens somehow. You could go into
I don't think it's that hard.
Okay. Let's say you have it then. You're a young man and you've got the muscles and you've got the finances, etc. Okay. Sorry. Well, yeah. So you've got all that.
That's unrealistic.
From
Even
that,
that's
from that,
unrealistic.
okay. No, so let's say you've got it. Let's say you've got it. You've achieved it. Again, you have to tell me practically, step by step. How do you sleep with 50 women going forward? How do you do it? Give me a step-by-step guide. What do you do? Where do you go, etc.?
Well, it depends on where you are in the world, right? But if you're talking about the West specifically, then there are like, I mean, I can give you 3 avenues right now. Social circle. There's cold approach, which is you approach these women on the streets, and then you obviously source for and social circles refers to like parties and all those kind of things. And then in terms of the third thing will probably be clubs or nightclubs or something.
Right. So you get to these clubs, you approach a woman. Obviously, in your mind, you want to reach 50, okay? So what are you telling that woman so that she understands that this is not a long-term relationship? This is literally, I need to have a notch. You're a notch on my bedpost. How do you, because you have to make that clear, I'm assuming, to the woman, is that, or do you lie to the woman?
Okay. First of all, I need to clarify this, really make it clear. 50 is a guideline. It is not a hard and fast.
No, but we have to stick to 50. We have to, I know you wouldn't do that, but we have to stick to 50 because if I said to Byron, I want to do 50, he wouldn't say, no, don't do it. He'll say, go for it.
He said, well, whether you can go for it and whether you can achieve it are 2 different things.
Okay, but he wouldn't be against 50, so I'm going to stick to 50 because he wouldn't be against 50. So
but
you have to stick to 50.
That's not.
He said it.
Just because.
He said it. He said
Yeah,
50.
but like I said, like 50 is a guideline. It's not a, like.
So why was it 20 the guideline? Why was it 20 the guideline then? Or 10? Or 15? Why was 50 the guideline?
I mean, it's just an arbitrary number. That I can't speak to the process.
Yeah, it can't be arbitrary. He has to.
Sure, it can because I explained the principle of it.
Okay, let's take the number out of it. You want to get what you need to build up a portfolio of women you slept with.
Yeah.
You don't. Let's start. Do you lie to the woman initially and say to them, "I don't want a long-term relationship. I want to have you as a short." What do you start? How do you start that relationship?
I mean, I can't give a blanket prescription for everything, but it will really depend on the guy. It would depend on the context. It would depend on the place that you live. Generally, how I intend to do it. Okay. I completely understand the guys, and I'm not going to crap on them or whatever for lying to women, because women do the exact same thing to men. So if you want to do that, then you got to be prepared to fight, get burned, basically.
Well, you have to lie. You'd have to lie. You'd have to lie.
I mean, no, not really. This is why I was
okay. You go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this is why I was so adamant on pointing out why 50 isn't a hard and fast number. Because if you obviously look at it from saying you have to hit 50, then obviously it becomes a lot harder. But if you realize that 50 is a yardstick, then you're not on a time clock to meet that metric before you turn 35 or 30 or whatever age. So, I mean, like a man could be, let's say, sexually aware in the dating place at 6 bodies. It's possible.
I have to push back. Alex.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, 6 and 50 is the way. Like Myron didn't say a few. He didn't say 10, 6, 5. He said 50. And I know if I wanted to, I've been watching Fresh and Fit for a lot. Not anymore, but when I first, Myron has stuck to. I know yesterday I have watched all the shows. I used to watch all the shows. And Myron, not only did he say 50, he wrote 50 in his book.
Okay, okay.
And I know
Okay,
that could have
we'll put this number thing aside because I think we're getting way too caught up in it. I'm going to find it.
but we have to, because he wrote that in his book. So it's not just an arbitrary number. This is his philosophy. So we have to be honest and truthful about his philosophy. And his philosophy, written and spoken, is 50 women. So
No,
what
I
you
know
kind of, what you kind of highlighted, if I'm honest with you, Alex, is that you don't seem to be honest to have the I've asked you specifically, how would you go about getting this number up? And you mentioned it depends where you are. Then we spoke about, do you have to lie to the woman? You say maybe you have to lie. Well, you do have to lie. There's not 50 women you could go up to and say, I just want to sleep with you. I'm going to move on to the next one after. So there has to be an element of lying. So what I actually want to ask you, from going on from the lie, where you say that, what is it that the man has to do to establish sex in a relatively short period of time?
Okay, first of all, on the number thing, I don't think this is going to get anywhere until So, I mean, fine. If you guys need the clip, I'll try and find, because he said it 3 or 4 times. So I'll probably clip up stuff of that and then I'll send it to someone or something. I'll come on and make sure. And then, I mean, the book is supposed to be read in accompaniment to the show. So if you don't, how do I say this? I would speculate. Okay, this is just me speculating. Part of the reason why he also said 50 is purely for sensationalist purposes. That's just because he's running a show, he needs to keep it entertaining. But I mean, I can't speak to his mindset. I mean, but yeah, I'll just find the links, because I mean, once I find the links, it's indisputable.
But let's talk about the specifics of what he's advocating, which is obviously having
sorry, what was your later question?
Yeah, so numerous sexual partners. So obviously you talk about a cold approach, going to clubs and stuff. You get with the woman. What do you do then? What's your approach then going forward? Because you don't want a long-term relationship. So what exactly are you? How are you moving forward with these women?
I mean, in terms of actually what I would say to them to get with them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Myron is a whole podcast of how to cold approach women and all that kind of thing.
No, but the code approach involved, because at the end of the day, you want to sleep with the woman. So the code approach, the end result is to sleep with that woman. So is it a normal chat line that you would say if you want a long-term girlfriend, or is it a different type of chat line that you would have?
No, you would just use the normal cold approach.
Okay.
Line. I don't actually, I mean, I think this is especially where it gets, you can't, I mean, realistically, Red Pill is only a guide. It's not a prescriptive thing, right? So each guy is going to approach women differently. You can't say, oh, every guy has used this pickup line at this exact thing. It's not like a flow chart of if she says this, what do I say? If she says this, what do I say? I mean, if that's the case, game would be pretty easy, right? All you have to do is memorize 1,000 steps and you're done. So the rule is this: the higher status you are as a guy, the more mistakes you can make when trying to, pick up women. The lower status you are as a guy, the more you're gonna have to try. Which is why everyone tells you to elevate to a certain level. So I can't tell you what you need to say exactly. It's really, really dependent.
But essentially, what you're trying to do is establish a short-term relationship. Is that correct?
Okay, we have to be really careful with the terminology here.
Well, we're going to be clear too, because if you're talking about, remember, you have to establish a body count before you even contemplate marriage. So these have to be short-term relationships. It can't be a series of long-term relationships, because you won't, in his words, you won't get the necessary experience of female nature. So these have to be relatively short-term relationships.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let's just be clear as well. He has to achieve this from the age of 18 up until 30. Okay.
No,
So-
not 30.
So 30, 35, right? So
35.
he's
35.
yeah.
A
so
man
he
is
has-
not on. No,
so
no,
he
no. A
has-
man is not on a time clock in terms
Okay.
of marriage.
Okay, he's
He
not in
said
terms
50 by
of marriage.
35. He said 50 by 35.
According to the video that we reacted
Yeah.
to, he says he was given an advice to men to not get married until they get to 35, and all the list of things that they have to achieve in order to get married, and sleeping with 50 women was one of the things that he said men have to do. So you've got from the age of 18 to 35 to achieve this goal. Remember,
No,
these
no.
Hold on,
Saying
let me
that
just
you
finish
have
this.
to.
Let me just-
Sorry,
let me
yeah,
just-
go ahead.
So remember, during this time, you also have to make yourself, according to him, I think you have to have over 100K in your bank saved or something like that. So you have to be able to achieve all of that, all right? And also become someone with muscles and all of that type of fitness, which I encourage every man to do. So how realistic is it that you're going to be focusing on becoming a man who has 100K saved in his bank account by the age of 35? All right. While at the same time pursuing women. As someone who has pursued women before, I know what it takes. And it's not this idea that you're just going to approach a woman and tell a woman directly, listen, I'm just here for a short-term relationship, or I'm just here to sleep with you. It doesn't work like that. You have to embellish the words. You have to, you have to, in a sense, speak a woman's language. Men are very direct. If we could just walk up to a woman and say that, we would, but we don't. And I don't care who you are, you still have to apply some level, especially when you're building yourself up, because you don't have that money yet. You don't have all of that. So how would that work? It doesn't. When you actually apply it practically, it doesn't work.
Well,
Okay,
that's the
so-
point I was making. No, Alex, I'll let you respond first. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. So, okay, this is why I had to cut you off so quickly, because I knew where this was going. Saying that a guy should only look towards marriage after 35 is not the same as saying a guy should get married by 35. That's really word conflation to the highest degree. Saying that you can look beyond that term for prospects is not the saying that you have a cutoff point by that term. So I think the marriage range for guys is a lot higher than women claim it is. And then in terms of being realistic about getting 100K in the bank before whatever age, I think there are many ways to make money nowadays, and that if you, well, okay, let's say if you fall short by that, right? Like, this is again why why I'm saying the 50. This is why the semantics of what he says is so important, because if you don't have to hit 50, then every other metric can be lowered in terms of that. And then in exchange, all you have to do is lower the overall body count that you want to hit. So if you only have like 20 or whatever, 20K in the bank, and you have like you're out of shape, or if all these other variations to the metrics, then you vary the outcome as well. That's why I'm so stuck on getting this thing right. What was your other question?
Hold on, I
Alex,
just
do
want to
you-
give a shout out to
Yeah.
sorry, bro. Just want to give a shout out
Yeah,
to Project VO Pod. Just
Okay.
got here. Question: who are the keepers of sex, women,
Women.
or men? I think it means the gate. Oh, sorry. Who are the gatekeepers of sex, women or men? Women. Project VO Pod.
Women. Yeah, it's
And
women. It's
if you
women.
want to jump in as well, Project VO Pod, feel free to. But yeah, go ahead, Jean-Michel.
I guess the point where I was kind of going with those kind of questions towards Alex is kind of Nelson kind of went where I was going. Basically, what it kind of when you're okay, so this idea that you have to have numerous relationships to understand female nature. Would you agree, Alex, that there's no definitive number then for you to establish that, for you to get an idea? There's no definitive number. Would you agree with that?
In terms of how many women to get?
Yeah.
To understand female nature.
Yeah, sure.
So it could be 5.
Sure, yeah.
3?
Could it be 300?
Yeah.
No, hold on. Could it be 1?
Yeah. It
Okay.
could.
Now, okay, so you do understand your answers are definitely contradicting what Myron says. If I ask Myron those same questions, if I said to Myron, do you think you can understand female nature with one partner? He would not agree with that. The same as you
Yes.
have agreed with it, he would not agree with it. If I said 5, Myron would not agree with that either. So there's
No.
definitely a number component to his understanding of understanding female nature. Now, let me tell you something. I agree with you, by the way, what you just said. I don't think there's a number component, and I think you can get it with relatively small amount. You can understand it. But this is not what Myron is pushing. Because if I asked him those same questions, he wouldn't agree with me. He would say, no, you need a higher amount. And I'm going to say 50 because this is what the number he's used. Okay. Now that's my issue with it. Because and ultimately this is my issue, because if I go with your answers which I agree with, what you've done there then essentially you can have a man that has the money and the muscles, okay? He meets one woman, okay, that relationship doesn't work out. He meets another woman. At that point, he says, you know what, I think I understand the female nature, so I'm going to turn this relationship into a long-term relationship. I agree with that. That makes sense. So if that's what if you agree with that too, we're kind of on the same page. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Myron does not agree with that, and that's why Nelson and I are having an issue with what he's saying, because he's saying that no, your second partner is not enough for you to understand female relationships. And unfortunately, if you go with his philosophy, which is numerous relationships, that creates a negative impact on women and on society, and that's the point we're making.
Okay, no, that's not what he says at all. When he says whatever amount he gives, he's talking about the average person. The average guy is not going to be able to understand female nature within one body or whatever. He's speaking for the average person. Is it because the way you phrased your question, you asked if it was possible? Of course it's possible. Is it probable? No. Like, I could jump out of a plane and survive. What's the survival rate? Like 1%? It's possible, but it's not probable. So I mean, that's essentially deconstructing of this entire argument.
All right. So if it's okay, so we
Hold on, bro. I just want to give a shout out to Jake.
What's up, bro?
Hey, okay, we got a full team. We got full team. Wicked.
You've got some backup, Alex. You've got some backup.
Oh, nice. Hey, bro. What's up, man?
Let me just quickly push back in that, and then I'll let brother come in. So what you're saying then, how it's probable, it's more probable to get this information with more partners. Okay. Now now we're shifting back now into Myron's philosophy, which is men to get a full understanding of female nature. It's better that you go for a higher percentage of women. Okay. Now, if that's his philosophy and that's what he's teaching men, if you have many men with that philosophy, all thinking the same way, that they have to have multiple partners to get this probability issue that you talk about, can you not see how that then has a negative impact on the women around you and on society in general? You can't see how that can have a negative impact?
Well, if you're trying to limit the sample size to the West, then sure. But my whole point with this was you use the West as a proving ground. So I mean, I live partially in the West, but obviously I'm not from the West. The large majority of women in the West want to burn, so let them. And then once you have when you want to find a proper wife, you come to, other countries, you be passport bros and all that kind of thing. The issue with that is obviously if you take the men out of the West and you put them in Asia or whatever, then you're just increasing competitiveness in that region. But I'm fine with that. Life is about competitiveness. If any man comes to Southeast Asia, I'll slaughter him here. It doesn't matter because I understand the culture better. But it's their issue. If I go to the West, I'll probably be slaughtered unless I learn fast. But that's the reality of life. So I mean,
same question. Hold on, bro. Same question
okay.
to Jake.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you asked if every man is promiscuous, why are we promoting that fact that they're gonna make a whole bunch of sluts, being slut makers, etc. Here's the core argument here. When you guys are making that argument, which Octavio had made that argument earlier, look, when you're making that argument, you have to realize who are the gatekeepers of sex, which we all agree that it's women, right? Now, you all agreed with that and it went over your heads. It totally went over your heads that the fact that the gatekeepers of sex is women means for the fact that women control the sexual market. They completely control the sexual market. So therefore, if men are being promiscuous, the only way for them to get laid is if women are just as promiscuous. Look at statistics wise. Only 20% of the men are banging 80% of the women. Okay. So 20% of the men are actually having sex with the lower tier of women. Okay. So the men aren't the ones. Yeah. The men aren't the ones making the sluts, Octavio. It's women deciding in modern day society with feminism. They're the ones deciding with their OnlyFans, etc. They're the ones deciding that they are the ones that are being sluts. Men all throughout time are the ones that aren't the gatekeepers of sex. So they get sex. They have to earn the sex. It's a totally different argument when you're trying to make the argument. When you're trying to make the argument that men are the ones that are in that are at fault for women's promiscuity. It's not true.
I have a question for you, Jake.
Go for it.
Who are the gatekeepers of resources?
Men, relationships, marriage. Yes, men.
Okay,
correct. And why aren't men marrying these women?
Hold on. In fact, men are not marrying these women.
Yeah, they're not. Why?
Hold on. So we know that the gatekeepers of resources and attention are men. And
marriage, yes.
Who's funding
marriage?
Who's funding the sex industry that encourages these women to sell their bodies for resources?
That's a great question. So the ones that are funding the resources are the men. You're right. George Soros, back in the 1970s, George Soros was the one that was funding the feminist movement that women are equal to men. So yes, there are beta males that are funding this degeneracy. That's 100% true. But you have to realize those are the beta males. When you talk about a 50 body count to navigate this marketplace, that's actually a very plurable. It's very good advice that Myron has given to young men, because when you're dealing with women, you have to understand their actual nature. We live in a world of feminism. I'm not saying back in the day when our parents were growing up, our mothers are not sluts. Our mothers grew up in a totally different time era. Okay. So it's very different here. So the thing is,
Jake,
when you're,
would you marry
and you're right.
Slut? Sorry, Jake, would you marry a slut in the end? After you've accomplished your hell no. Okay. What you've done, Jake, you've just contradicted yourself completely.
I have not.
Because hold on. What you're saying is, this is what you said. You said that Myron has given an actual good example, all right? Because these women are promiscuous, all right? And in today's era, in order for you to navigate the marketplace, you have to sleep with these women, with about 50. This is what Myron says, or thereabouts.
That's a ballpark. That's a ballpark number.
So hold on a second, Jake. Isn't that implying that in order for you, if you're going to sleep with 50 women, the implication is in order for you to deal with this type of woman, you have to sleep with 50 women. So the implication is that you would have to marry a slut. Who else would you be dealing with? You'd be dealing with a promiscuous
I'll
woman.
do it. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine.
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh my god, I can't.
It's so dumb, dude. No, there's no implication on marrying a slut that navigates towards Myron saying that you need to deal with women in order to understand them. There's no implication on marriage. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys keep bringing it back to the 50 thing. I said from the start that he has said multiple times that it depends on the guy. You aren't going to make a prescriptive number like 50 for every single man. Some men take shorter times to understand women. Some men take longer periods of time to understand women. So it really depends on the guy.
No,
Alex, there's no point pushing back on this.
Alex, sorry. I don't want us to go off the point. I don't want to go back to the 50 to the 50 nonsense. Okay.
Well, you've been bringing it up, Octavio.
I can play the videos. But Myron advocates for men to be promiscuous in order to understand female nature. That's what Myron.
Okay, fine. Let's not talk about 50. We'll go to
the point that I was trying to make is, if you want to understand female nature, why would you want to understand female nature? In order to deal with female nature. So, in order for me, that's the only conclusion that one would have to reach in order to understand female nature. So, in order for me, let's say I'm following Myra's example. In order for me to understand female nature, I have to sleep with loads of women. I have to be promiscuous. The implication is I would have to understand this type of women, because I'm going to end up settling with one of them. And I asked Jake, listen, the West is promiscuous. That's what he says. It's a different marketplace. It's a different. Women have changed because of feminism. Because they are hold on, Alex. Because they are more promiscuous. Men, you have to reach a high body count in order to understand female nature. So the implication is, when I do end up settling, I'm gonna have to settle with a woman with a high body count. Why? Because that's the only way I can deal with their nature. How else can I understand their nature?
Because that's why I said from the start. Basically, no, that's why I said from the start. Men who have achieved that status are not confined to the West. You are assuming they are confined to the West. They're not. So once you finish proving yourself in the West, then you move to other countries because you have the resources, because you are that guy. You move to those other countries and you source for a wife.
So you leave the West.
Yes.
So what I'm understanding is that the West is completely doomed.
No.
It's just a trash dump, So I mean, this is like seeing a fire and thinking, no, this is what I'm going to do to solve the fire. I'm going to get some gasoline and toss it on the fire and look and think, oh, why has the fire got bigger? That's the philosophy that I'm hearing. You have a problem with polygamous women. You call these women 3 or 4s, whores, etc. He has them on his show. He mocks them because they're not very intelligent. It's true. That's fodder for what he wants to do. There's fodder for his philosophy. Whores, okay? These are the same whores that he has chased before, that he's in their DMs, that he's on their sugar site websites. This is the same man that chases these women and encourages other men to chase to become high value. That is a contradiction in terms. You can't at the same time besmirch these women as trash, but then you're saying to men, in order for you to become a somebody, you got to have at least sex with at least a certain number of these women to get to a level where now these women that he did this idea that you then go to another country outside the West to find women doesn't make any sense at all, because they're the same people that say that the West everywhere is being, because of the internet and social media, the whole world is being polluted under the same philosophy. They say this. I'm not saying it. They say this. That the whole earth is being polluted through this Western philosophy due to social media. I've seen them say it. I've seen guys on their shows say that. So this idea that they're going to go off, and this is another thing I mentioned earlier. You going from the West to one of these Eastern countries and finding these wholesome women, you're going to deal with a wholesome family. You're going to deal with a wholesome father. That wholesome father if he finds out you were in the West banging all these prostitutes, you think he's gonna give you access to his family, to his daughter? No, it's not. He wants to see he wants to have a man that follows a certain path in life of responsibility and accountability and restraint, because that's the type of man he wants for his daughter. I'm speaking of a man with my own daughter. I don't. What would I choose? A man that's lived a righteous life, or a man that's been out there banging, going on sugar daddy websites, banging prostitutes? No, you're not coming into my house dating my daughter. That's not going to happen. You better come with a bulletproof vest if that's what you're going to do. I want the man that's been living a straight life. That's the kind of man I want.
Okay, Jake, say what you want, and then I want to take this point to its natural conclusion, because there's no point beating around the bush. And this is where the track-on, I'll take it to a point when I'll show you why the track-on ideology ultimately crumbles when it's put under fire. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say this. Look, look, the end goal of what you guys are saying, and I'll say this, I don't have anything against tricons, okay? I really don't. I think the ending goal's fine, but where you guys differ is that the fact that you guys don't acknowledge the fact that we live in a world where women don't think the same way. You guys want to blame men, okay? You guys want to blame men for women being promiscuous, while simultaneously you ignore the fact that women are the gatekeepers. And you said that multiple times. You want to focus on the 50 body count. You want to talk about your daughter saying, oh, well, I don't want my daughter being with a man that has 50 body counts. Guess what? A man with that has a good implication when it comes to women and money and success, that man is going to be a better off husband than a guy that is a loser, that lives with his parents, etc. Which, by the way, I live in Texas, Rio Grande Valley. The vast majority of men are just like that. They live at home. They're mama's boys. They don't get laid. They're the ones that want to preach out the Disney fairy tale to these women, but they're not getting, dude. These women don't give a fuck about them, okay? Ladies don't want to fucking fuck with those guys. As a father, you don't want your girls to be with those guys either, bro. You really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Regardless of their body count doesn't matter. A woman doesn't care about a man's body count. So I don't know why you're so fiscated about body count, bro. It doesn't really fucking matter when it comes to. Okay, go for it.
What kind of woman, after let's say you are following the red pill right now, all right?
Not really. No, I'm not. Dude, I can understand your philosophy.
Hypothetically, let's say a young man is following the red pill, is trying to achieve a certain number of body counts. Okay. Since everyone has something against the number 50, let's call it 40. All right. I hope everyone's happy with 40.
Let's call it 20. Let's do it down to 20 because I think 20 is a reasonable number.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason why he's following this advice is because women in the West are highly promiscuous, and he needs to understand female nature and so on and so forth. Okay.
Sure.
So after he slept with 20 women, all right. Okay. Remember, every man is following this advice, by the way. All right. Everyone's trying to sleep with as many women as possible.
Okay.
Hypothetically, right? And we all trying to sleep with as many women as possible. Okay. Can you please tell me, what type of woman would you want to settle down after you've reached your number? After let's say you gave yourself 20, 25, and you've reached your number, and now I understand female nature. What kind of woman would you want to settle down with? Can you just describe that woman to me, please?
Okay, so great question, Octavio. So the thing is, most men are born liberals. In general, we're all born liberals. We live in a society where they preach liberalism, okay? The only point of sleeping with, or at least hooking up, or at least communicating with as much women as possible, because again, the success rate of actually having sex with a woman, if that guy slept with 25 girls, he had to hit on at least 150 girls to get to that fucking 25 mark, Octavio. So the fact that he had to deal, it doesn't matter about sleeping with a woman. It matters about dealing with the woman. Okay, you don't have to sleep with them, but you have to deal with these girls consistently. But the main focus is building up your income, which Myron preaches. It's not about sleeping with the woman. It's about building up yourself in the gym and your money, etc. All that comes first before banging the woman. Okay. And he's done this multiple times. He's spoken to his followers multiple times that you shouldn't be focusing on women unless your money and your body is up to par. Okay. So take that into consideration. So if you're saying, your question was, once a man reaches his so-called number, 25, 20, etc., he's already learned, he's already taken the advice of building his body up, etc. His main goal is to make sure that his woman, okay, is not a slut, and he has to prolong that. He has to be a man, he has to provide, he has to do all the tradcon things that you guys preach, which is the main goal is to be the man. Okay. It's not about banging as many women as possible. It's about getting the right woman and retaining the woman. Okay. That's the main goal, is retaining the woman. So after the goal of having sex, or whatever your question was, once you reach that outlet, you will be better equipped to retain the woman that you want to be with and retain the woman throughout marriage.
Okay, Jake,
which could be in a religious aspect, because
so what
let's
kind
be
of
honest,
woman,
the red
what kind
pill
of woman,
does.
so can you describe what kind of woman you would go for? You would choose?
In a relationship?
Okay, you've achieved
in a relationship.
Your goal. You've achieved your goal. Yeah, you've achieved your goal. You understand female nature, and now you want to settle down. You know female nature completely, and now you want to settle down. So can you describe, because that was the original question, can you describe the kind of woman that you would go for, please?
Okay, so this is a personal aspect. So here's the woman that I would go for: a woman that was raised in a 2-parent household, a woman that has no kids under her belt, a woman that is as much mitigation of sex partners as possible. Okay, which usually her being in a 2-parent household would reflect that. Okay, a woman that's submissive to the man, that listens to the man, that will follow the man, and a woman that is not so focused on her fucking career or whatever fucking job that she wants to think. A woman that doesn't compete with the man. It's very simple, Octavio. It's very simple, okay? But the thing is, there are women. Hold on. I'm not done with the question. I'm still answering your question. The thing is that women out there, the reason why you need to be so good on your game, the reason why you need so much game, is to make sure that you put the check marks on that woman throughout the years. Because throughout the years, a woman will still fucking submit to the feminist movement, especially because we're here in the West. They will still submit to a degree. You as a man, your job is to make sure that that woman doesn't submit to the feminist movement and she submits to you. Okay. It's the same thing with children. As a father, your job is to make sure that your fucking son doesn't end up in fucking prison, and to make sure that your daughter doesn't end up on a fucking stripper pole. It's the same thing. You as a fucking father needs to make sure that your whole family is in line. And
Jake,
these women.
Okay. Jake, can I just address
that? That's my question. That's my answer.
Okay. Jake, just remind me one more time. What would be your the body count that you would prefer for your woman?
0.
You mentioned some very good qualities. You want a woman that's submissive. You want a woman that's respectful. You want a woman that wants to stay at home, not follow career, not feminist, and so on and so forth. Right? Great tradcon values there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We have a lot in common, Octavio.
What would be the body count of this woman that you've chosen?
Preferably, the body count would be 0. But obviously, I don't live in fucking a Disney fairy tale. We live in the West, so I have to be reasonable. To be honest, bro, it has to be. It has to be
20.
No, fuck no. 20's overbound. Okay, a woman.
How about 15?
How about what?
15.
No, not at all. So if you look at statistics wise, if you look at the full body count of a lifetime of people, or especially women, it's around 7. It's around
7.
5 or 7. Yes.
You'd accept 7 guys before you.
I would accept below that. Below that. I don't want you to be the average. I want you to be below the fucking average. Okay? So I know statistics, my friend. So I would say if you're fucking at a 4, hey, there's something for me to work with there. Okay.
Fair enough, bro. Okay, I just want to get to my conclusion. All right. And I like what Alex said, because Alex was actually, and where are you going to find this woman? Remember, you're in the West, and every man, remember the question I asked, every man is trying to sleep with 20, 25, whatever they're comfortable with, right? They're trying to reach at
that's
least
their
20,
natural
25.
nature, Octavio. That's the thing.
Okay.
It's not because of Myron. It wasn't Myron that made men want to sleep with all these women. That's our natural nature.
Let me just finish. Okay, every man is trying to, hypothetically speaking, every man is trying to achieve this goal.
As much women as possible, yes.
And it's very funny that you mentioned that every man in this, after they've reached their goal, after they all slept with 20, 25 women, they still want a woman that's pretty much a virgin, that's pretty much traditional in every sense of the word, even though these are liberal men. Okay, if liberal men, hold on. If liberal men were to be honest, they should sleep with women with a 50 body count.
Wait, hold on. How are they liberal men though?
Hold on. Let me just get to my question. So where are you going to find this woman? In the West?
Yeah, it's very possible, because I've ran into plenty of women that I've dated that had around that body count, but of course it didn't work out. It is what it is. I was a simp back then. Remember, mind you, bro, I'm 30 years old, so I'm in that range to where I had a lot of experience. Okay, so
Jake, so you think so? Because Alex said no, because we've all agreed. If every man is trying to sleep with 20 women, I doubt that you're going to find a virgin. I doubt that you're going to find if every man is willing to spend resources. Hold on a second. Trying to sleep with we're not going by 50, by the way. Trying to sleep with 20 women. All right, you would agree that the likelihood of you finding a virgin would actually be almost impossible, right? And Alex was honest about it. He said, you know what? Go to another country. Become a passport bro. Why? Because if every man is trying to sleep with that amount of women, it literally becomes near impossible for a man to find the type of woman that you've just described.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I disagree with Alex is that I wouldn't recommend men to go to another country and find a wife. That's ridiculous, bro. Like, no offense, Alex, but
no. Okay, Jake, let me just finish this point. So the conclusion is, if we are going to end up, if every man is being encouraged to sleep with this amount of women, and in the end there is no virgins, and we know that modern day relationships are not working, because we all know how we got to this stage. It was feminism that created the hookup culture. All right. And now, and as a result, it created this situation where men don't want to get married to these women no more, because they've got high body counts and so on and so forth. So they're just using them for sex. Okay. So how is it that it makes sense for you to sleep with, for you to continue to tell men, or Myron to continue to tell men to sleep with this amount of women, which is pretty much doing what feminism told women to do. So knowing that it doesn't produce good women, and you agreed with every question that I've asked, knowing that this every man sleeping with 20 women, because it creates men sleeping with 20 women. If everyone had that goal and they reached that goal, it would lower the amount of virgins, lower the amount of submissive women, lower the amount of good women. How is this a good philosophy? How is this a good prescription for men? How is this a good advice for men if in the end you don't get the virgin? If in the end you don't get submissive women? If in the end you don't get the woman that doesn't want a career? How is this good advice, bro?
Okay, great question, Octavio. So well, here's the thing. You want to start the story from the feminist point of view. At this point in time, yes, the feminist fucking movement is so strong. I would say this. How does it help that men go out there and adjust to the sexual marketplace? Why does that help? Is because men are more equipped to make sure that they are not fucking getting married to these girls that again, if you look at statistics, they fucking initiate 80% of divorces. If you look at the suicide rate, men are offing themselves for these women that divorce them. So the reason why it's so good for these men to go out there and actually deal with these women, regardless if you have sex with them or not, you're putting a number on it. I just say the number is very irrelevant, especially in today's modern day where we have conversations. The point is that if you're out there dealing with these women through experience, as well as understanding the nature of how these women are, that women are not sugar and spice and everything nice, then yes, you can make the world a better place by speaking up and saying that the feminist movement is garbage. If you look at our politics, it starts with politics, Octavio. It starts with politics. Okay. When you look at the feminist movement, the reason why that this feminine movement just blew up so much so is because we gave them the right to vote. We gave them the right to go into the workplace. We gave them the right to fucking be just like a man, which is why women especially here in America, in 16 of the biggest cities here in America, women are already out earning men. So therefore, because they're out earning men, they're more likely to divorce. The problem isn't men. The problem lies with women and the feminist movement and their hypergamy. They're the ones destroying their marriages. Again, 80% of the time. They're the ones that are keeping the man away from their kids. When the kids happen, men are committing suicide because they're not able to do that. So you have to start from the root cause. If I'm going to tell men you need to adjust to the market to stay safe, that is good advice. But in order to get back to that TradCon aspect, to the way the 50s were, Octavio, you have to be honest about what it is and how the justice system works nowadays. That's my point. You have to be honest about that. So I get it. Yes, the ending result is to go back to the man is the one that works in the household. The man can provide for the entire family. The man can do everything that a man needs to do, and the woman is not competing. Okay, every man wants that. In order to get back to that, we need to establish the fact that men need to adjust. And then simultaneously, we need to call out this leftist movement in politics, because politicians are the ones making policies to go against that agenda, Octavio. So we need to address that first before just saying, hey, guys, it's your fault why these women are promiscuous. It's not true. It's the woman that is hyperbolic on sexuality. So we need to be honest about that, Octavio.
Sorry. One last point before Figgy. You blame politicians for what's actually going on.
100%.
And you've taken the responsibility and accountability away from men. Okay.
No, not at all.
Right.
No, not at all.
Hold on. If men morally adjusted and did not fund the sex industry, politicians would have to rethink their policies, because guess what? There is no longer a market for it. If there is not a market for something, let me finish. If there is not a market for something, if men turn around today and say, we're not paying for OnlyFans, we are not paying for the sex industry, we are not going to strip clubs, we are not going to do any of that, all right? There is no market for it. Remember, the sex industry is in the billions.
Sure.
It's one of the biggest industries in the world.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And it's all to do, and it's so driven by men's lustful nature. That's the reason why.
It's driven because our politicians have allowed women to market off of that fucking lustful nature.
Hold on, Jay. You can market all you want. If I engage in it, this is why I said you're taking the accountability and responsibility away from men. If I engage in it, all right, you can show me naked women all day. It's my choice to go up there and pay for sex.
Okay,
it's still my choice. Hold on.
Can I ask you a question, Octavio?
Hold on. It's still my choice to go out there and pay for that woman for sex. It's still my choice to like that woman's Instagram picture. It's still my choice to give that woman attention. And this is what women get from men. The reason why we have the market that we have is because we keep supplying this. We keep basically telling women, here's money, here's attention. And guess what? Women keep coming. The policies are not going to change if there's a market for it. It's not going to change at all. If men today changed, then the women were no longer making money, the corn industry would go out of business because men are no longer funding it, men are no longer watching it. All the strip clubs would have to shut down because men are no longer going to it. Everything, society would literally change. And guess what would happen? The politicians would have to say, you know what? There is no market for it. We can no longer support it.
Okay, sorry. Can I just push back on this really quickly?
Alex, can you understand that he's jumping all the way to the ending of the point?
Yeah,
he's jumping all the way to the ending of what the result that we want without actually acknowledging what it takes to get to that point. Alex,
no,
I
understand that, but I don't even have to push it that far. What if you? Okay, I'm gonna try and explain this concept in layman's terms. Okay, so that non-legal people can understand. Okay, there's this concept called undue influence in law, right? And it basically is the idea that there is a limit to how much, let's say, self-agency someone has when they're being constantly pushed to do something. For example, if you go into church and you are, let's say, nurtured in that environment, and it ends up with you being, I don't know, like if you end up being like joining a cult or whatever, that's not on you. There's a limit to that. And when you are fundamentally preying on something as primal as men's biological need to procreate, and then say, why are men just not refusing these temptations? That's a ridiculous ask. That's basically like me telling women, why don't you refuse your urges? Date a broke man, a short man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Why is it? Because I brought this up on the last podcast, and I really took issue with it because we were dissecting the Catholic religion, and it really didn't sit right with me because you said that if a woman cheats on a man, the man has to stick with the family for the betterment of the children. But if the man abuses the woman, then a woman should be able to just leave, regardless of the impact it has on the family. It is ridiculous how we hold each parent to different levels. Whenever a woman needs an out, it's there. Whenever a man needs an out, sorry, it's not so
it's not there.
Yeah, I just as much as Tracon say that we are degenerate or whatever, I think that Tracons are simps. You guys are no better than simps. You are putting women on ridiculous pedestals.
Okay, let me chime in. Let me
just reply.
Holy shit! That shot's fired, bro.
Hold on, let me just
that shot's fired.
Alex, right?
Let me chime in also. Let me put that in peak. I was spoken for, but let me chime in on that.
Yeah. So I said.
Yeah, because in there's places in the world right now, okay, where men take control of their society ruthlessly, okay. The women are not prostitutes. The women are not promiscuous. You go to the Afghanistan right now, you don't see women running around being promiscuous. So this idea that men have absolutely no control on how promiscuous women are is nonsense. When men want to instill a society and want to control a society where women are completely in terms of under control in terms of their sexual liberty, men can do it if they want to, regardless of what women want to do. So that tells me, that if we're in a situation where women are promiscuous, it's because the men allow it. And the reason why men allow it, Jake touched on it before, because you do have better male simps out here, and you have men that profit from women being sexually liberated, financially profit from it. Okay, that's why it's allowed. There's parts of the world where men don't have those considerations, and it's not allowed. Women are not cannot do that in the around those type of men. So that ultimately, what I'm saying is, this idea that men have no control about how women are running around out here is nonsense. When men want to have control, they do have control, and we see in parts of the world. Okay, that's my first point. Second point, this idea that you get to understand women by just sleeping with them one after the other, with no intention of developing any type of long-term relationship is nonsense. You don't learn anything about women doing that. In fact, what you learn now, what you will learn, is anything negative regarding women. Because what that woman will do, what the woman realizes that you're only there to sleep with her, she's going to put up barriers, and you're only going to see the negative aspects of her. Versus a man that engages with women for long-term relationships, that's when a man potentially gets to understand a woman more. He sees the good side and the bad side, because a woman is now more in her natural state in terms of being under a man who's not just out there to sleep with her and use her, but being underneath a man that it actually is beholden to the idea of protection and providing. That's when you find out the real nature of women. But just sleeping with a woman one after the other, you're not going to learn anything. There's nothing to learn from that. So this idea that you sleep with 20 women, oh, this man suddenly is enlightened to female nature is absolute rubbish. It's
Okay,
rubbish.
okay.
Hold on, guys.
You're not going to learn nothing from doing that. You learn the nature of women by spending a consider when you on your game, when you as a man are in your right frame and not out here just sleeping with women or using them. That's how you find out feminine, and you will find bad. You'll find bad too. But to say that you're going to find it by just being a playboy gigolo, you ain't finding nothing. There's nothing you're going to find that of any use.
Okay, I'm gonna address
Alex,
both.
hold on, Alex, hold on. Let me just address the biological urges argument, and you mentioned the Catholic one as well. The biological urges is very simple, guys. All throughout human existence, even today, the majority of the world, okay, does not agree necessarily with the feminist agenda, which is for women to be sexually liberated. All throughout human existence, men have always controlled female promiscuity, which means they have to control their own urges. All right. Men have always done that all throughout human existence. Men did not allow female promiscuity to get out of control. But the only way you cannot allow female promiscuity to get out of control is by literally controlling your biological urges. So that actually makes us less of a simp and more man-like. The second point about the Catholic religion, the reason why, let's say, which it would never happen to me, my wife, let's say, cheats on me, for example, right? The reason why is because I understand that my legacy, my purposes in life is more than my sexual urges. I have, for the sake of my children, I have to make sure that they grow up in a household with a father in it, because without the father in that child in that household, my children will be corrupted. My children will go astray. I would rather die knowing that I've raised good children than leave because my woman decided to go against her vows. Okay. So to me, that is a better man. Imagine if I just left. Guess what? If I just left, I would be behaving like every single modern woman today that decides to leave, because the man cheated. No, I care about my legacy. I care about my children, and I understand how important it is for a father to be at home. Because as soon as that father leaves, those children are basically done. All right, they're going to go astray. They are going to lose their way. It's as simple as that. That's the reason why I said I would state. But the thing is, unlike liberal men, because I'm not a liberal man, as a man who believes in traditional conservative values, which is really and truly just religious values, I actually, because I'm informed by my religion, I chose a woman that actually meets the metrics of a traditional woman. And that's the reason why I know for a fact that my relationship will not end up in the rubbish bin like most of these modern guys' relationships. Yeah, there you go, guys.
Can I
Sorry.
just add something? Let me just add this too.
Octavio.
Let me just add this quick point today. Just a quick point. So I'm not religious at Nelson. I'm not a Catholic. As Nelson would tell you, I come from more of a kind of I guess from my background is more of a kind of black conscious type of, but not the BLM type. Okay, someone that actually is trying to build up my community with constructive and positive values. Okay, we were talking earlier on. I don't know if we have a show coming out on our TV called Bad Girls UK, and the show is full of very degenerate, mostly unfortunately black women, acting in the most deplorable way, and this is being broadcast out to our community. Okay, now I need to, as a kind of leader in my community, I need to address that type of stuff. I can't address that by saying to the men, "Hey guys, brothers, go out there and just sleep with our women 20 a pop." I know if I do that, our society is going to go further this way. Okay, I need to think, what strategy can I use now? What can I tell the young? Can I mentor a lot of young boys? What can I tell them that would reverse this debauchery that's happening within our community? And that doesn't work. Me telling young men, yeah, just the money and the muscle part, yeah, I can tell them that part, but I have to also try to look at what is beneficial for the young women out here. Because if we have a lot of men pursuing women for simply the reasons of getting to know female nature by sleeping with them, you're creating a society full of loose women. That's literally what you're doing. The community is full now with loose women who don't see men as anything long term. Out of that, there's going to be a minority of women that potentially could become wives. Those women are going to end up being corrupted. Let's keep it real. Unless you put them on an island somewhere, the women in that community are going to be corrupted by the women that only get used to and accustomed to being used as sexual objects. That's literally what's going to happen. That's not conducive to good society. And so if you just want to get your end away and only concerned about your own life and riding up into the sunset after all that with your so-called wholesome wife, you can do that. I think as responsible men in society, you got to look outside of yourself and say, what is best for society as a whole? What's the best for my community? What's best for my children?
Okay, I'm going to. There are at least 6 different points in here. First thing that I want to say is something that I think we can all agree upon. Fuck BLM. Okay,
Of
I will
course.
never forgive them for how they treated Asian people during COVID. Okay, because they're just. I could go on a 1-hour tirade about this, but
my friend, they're Marxist. It's not worth even discussing, to be honest.
I don't want to bring race into this, but I will anyways because, I don't want to bring race into this, but I will anyways because I'm a pretty controversial guy. But here in America, the vast majority of people that were attacking the Asians were blacks. And the media was telling us as a society that it's white people that were attacking the Asians, and it's white people that are suppressing the blacks and every other minority community here in the United States. It's not true. The blacks were the ones that were caught. The blacks were the ones that were actually hurting the Asian community. Just to because I'm sure Alex can go into around on that, but I agree with you on that, Alex. Go on.
I just can't stand but anyway,
But can I make this quick point? BLM
Yeah.
is not synonymous with black people, though. Okay.
yeah, of
That's
course,
a
of course.
separate. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
synonymous. I they don't represent me, and I
Yeah,
definitely didn't represent them.
okay.
Yes.
I
Go
will.
ahead.
I just want to like. I will say though that I think because majority of black people in the UK and in the US are liberal. So I think BLM would represent
That's
majority of
actually
black
not true. Sorry, Alex.
Is it
That's actually people often say that, but they're not liberal. What it is, they were coerced into voting for liberal parties. But the actual average black person, especially from like I'm from the Caribbean, my parents are conservative. They're ultra conservative. They believe in marriage. They don't follow this LGBT stuff at all. Completely against it. They're actually very conservative. I think that's a bit of a misconception, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
well,
but and
Hold on, guys. Let Alex.
oh
let
no,
Alex
I was gonna say
no,
yeah.
no, no,
you're-
go ahead.
Okay, go on, Alex.
Oh no, okay. I was gonna say that just based on the stats, I mean, I think majority of UK and US voters are all liberals, right? So if you're more left leaning, then and we know that liberalism in general tends to pop up in more minor ethnicities and races. And I'm an exception, of course, but like I just, I mean, it was just my understanding. I don't really have any like hard facts on this. I just like drew a conclusion from the stats. But I mean, yeah, obviously, no one's gonna say like, oh, I hate BLM, I hate all black people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but anyway, okay.
red pill. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Let's talk about the okay.
We
Yeah,
can
let's keep
discuss
it on
another
topic.
time, though. Another time we can talk.
Yeah, sure.
Octavio, I have something to push back on you.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake. Go ahead. Alex,
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So you were mentioning earlier how in order to spot a good woman, you need to kind of like stop being a slut maker. That's basically your main argument here.
Oh,
Now let me
no.
ask you this, because I remember asking.
That's not my argument, Jake. That's not my argument.
Okay.
In order
So
in
what's
order
your
for-
argument? I was thinking men, because I was thinking that in order for a better aspect of judging or getting together with a good woman, a man needs to not be a slut maker. Is that correct?
Okay. What allows a man to not be a slut maker are something called values. All right. And depending on which values you align with, it's your values that inform your behavior, informs your thinking, and informs your behavior. All right. So, in order for you, and usually the guys that have values that they believe in. When you don't see a guy engaging in promiscuity, when you don't see a guy engaging in giving into his urges, when you don't see that, it's probably because he lives according to certain values that tells them that type of behavior is wrong. So naturally, what will end up happening is he will end up not wanting to marry a woman that hold to those values, because he understands that people that hold to those values are wrong. They are following the wrong values. For example, I, as a Catholic man, will not marry a woman that does not abide by Catholic ideology. If she does not align with Catholic religious values, I cannot marry that woman. I just cannot. They can go somewhere else. I don't care, but I can't align with them.
Okay, so Octavio, so you're saying, okay, of course, you demand a woman to not align in any liberal aspect at all whatsoever. Perfect. That's great. Let me ask you this though. I remember in another podcast that I was on, you stated that your wife married you, correct, as a virgin. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So she married you. She was a
Yeah.
virgin. Now, let me ask you this. Leading up to that marriage, what was your body count leading into that marriage, Octavio?
Huge.
Huge. What's the number, Octavio?
Don't know.
Be honest, bro, because we're talking
Don't.
about body counts here, where Myron talks about the 50 body count. What was your body count before getting married to the woman that you now love, admire, adore, and she loves you just the same way? What was your body count, Octavio?
I can't remember, bro. What you want me to? I don't know. What I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Octavio.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Ballpark figure.
Octavio, hold on, Alex. Octavio, I have a body count of over 50, bro. It's around in the 60 level. Okay, so you're telling me I can count it because I can actually sit down and actually do that. My body count's over 50.
I never
You're
counted.
saying that you don't remember yours.
No. I never counted. But if you want me to go through the list, I can one day sit down, go through the list. But it's definitely a lot.
Ballpark.
Okay.
Ballpark. Yeah, I would say about 50,
Ballpark.
60, around that. Yeah.
Okay. Octavio, the reason why you're so good at fucking examining these fucking dumbass bimbos that are whores is because you actually have experience, Octavio, that most men don't. You literally have experience, and you got lucky, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. You literally married a good woman, and you're actually in a position that most men don't. So that's great for you. So why are you criticizing to an extent? I know your end result, but because I do agree with your end result, but at the end of the day, when people say that you need to adjust to today's chaotic society, you're literally an example of a man that adjusted to that, and now you're happy. Why do you disagree with that philosophy that me and Alex have been saying this whole time on the podcast?
I cannot wait to answer you. All right. Here's the reality.
Can I do the because I didn't get to my critiques of your reply. So do you want to reply?
Let me just do with Jake right now.
Let him answer the question here.
Okay. I'm so glad you asked that question, Jake. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, Jake, here's the truth. All right. When I met my missus, all right, I was going back to my religion. All right. Before that, Jake, let's just say I could have ended up with a HO. All right, a hoe. Let's not forget, Jake, I was raised as a Catholic since a child, since a baby. Yeah. I was already aware of certain values. I was already aware of what a good woman is according to the Bible. This was not news for me. I was already aware of it since a child because I was raised heavily influenced by Catholicism. All right. And when I reached puberty, I completely believed in it. All right. My brother went the other way. He stopped believing. I completely, I believed. I immersed myself in it. All right. And then I went astray. For, quite some time. All right. But those values were still in me. I still knew what a good woman was. I still knew that. All right. Instinctively, because I know the Bible. I know what the Bible says a good woman is. Most men today are being raised as practically atheists. They don't know what a good woman is. They don't know. So those values, even though I went astray, those values were already in me. And it wasn't until, and let me tell you something, Jake. I don't want to get too personal, but I could have ended up easily with a bunch of hoes, bro. I could have ended up getting a lot of girls pregnant, bro. Girls that I did not
Sounds
want.
like it.
Hold on a second. I could have ended up, Jake, as one of these guys with 5, 6, 8 baby mamas. Yeah, I could have ended up. I could have ended up like that, Jake. I think you get the drift of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I could have ended up like
I definitely do.
Yep, exactly. It wasn't until I said to myself, I need to come back to my senses. I need to start following what is right. I need to stop dealing with these women because these women come with a lot of trouble and problems that I decided to go out and find a good one. But if I didn't have those religious beliefs instilled in me from a very early age, I would have ended up a babe I would have ended up with one of these baby daddies, yeah, with loads of side baby mamas on the side. It's so sleeping with loads of women doesn't help you understand what a good woman is. Do you know what it helps you do? It helps you get yourself into situations where you get these. This is where you get these women pregnant. This is why you've got loads of these guys that have 6, 7 baby mamas. Yeah, because they are the ones sleeping around with loads of women. That's the problem. That's your answer.
But Octavio, you were sleeping with loads of women back in the day. You just happened to be smart about it and not get them. Your pullout game was good. A lot of these dudes here, I'm just gonna say this. If you want to call it loads of women with my 50 body count, it's around 60. I knew for a fact I didn't want to get any of these girls pregnant, but I dealt with a lot of these women, especially because I was in the music. I was in the liberal arts, bro. I was a guitar player. By the way, I was a very talented guitar player. I was a shredder. I played in the rock scene, and I was a very talented player in the scene here in Texas, in the United States. So yes, I partied a lot, and a lot of women were very intrigued with what I provided during that time. Okay. I'm not saying I learned a lot about these women during that time. And remember, I'm in the metal scene. I'm in the rock scene. You have to realize a lot of those guys do cocaine. They're atheists. They're totally godless. I wasn't like that. I was raised with a 2-parent household. Yes, I was in the liberal arts, but I always kept my values. I wasn't raised religious so much so, but I did have those values to an extent, at least. So at the end of the day, yes, I completely understand where you're coming from 100%. But at the same time, going back to the average male that isn't necessarily being able to sort his seed or party or etc. I'm just saying, look, guys, you need to learn female nature. You need to deal with them. I'm not saying that you need to bang 50 girls, but I am saying that you need to deal with these women to an extent to learn. And yes, the best way is through the ending result is religion. The ending result. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge that we live in a world that's run by Satan, and we need to adjust to said world. In order to adjust, we need to learn what the enemy is pushing out to us so that we can give our offsprings and our children better advice to navigate said world. That's my point there, Octavio. And honestly, Octavio, I think me and you have way more in common than I thought earlier. Okay? I think we really do. So I didn't know that about you. This is why I wanted to question your ass about this shit, because you speak a lot about this shit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it sounds like you're a fucking virgin. A virgin wouldn't talk like this. So obviously you have some kind of experience. So I wanted to get down to that nitty gritty answer. And you just
a virgin. I wish I was a virgin, Jake. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, okay.
Alex.
I mean, Jake accepts your premise. I didn't even think to question your body count because I thought you were raised Catholic, so you were going to be a virgin throughout your entire life. But I mean, hey, this gives me a lot of ground to work on, man. Because I don't necessarily think that you say that your guideline for women has always been the Bible, but I don't think you can divorce your, let's say, the virtues you get from the Bible from your own personal experiences. So to completely say that I went around, slept with X many women, and that did absolutely nothing for my psyche in terms of trying to understand women is just something that I cannot accept at all. And then just moving on from that very quickly. I want to go back to the original points that we were talking about. Jake, no, not Jake. JM mentioned controlling women's he's back on, great. Controlling women's sexual urges are you can do that in other countries, so why can't you do that to the US? really quick question: what does that usually come with? It comes with controlling women in other aspects as well. So if you want to control women in terms of their sexuality in those countries, then are you willing to accept controlling them in other societal aspects as well? Like, for example, the way they go out and what they dress like, the limiting the amount that they, in terms of like the workforce and stuff like that. If you're willing to accept that, then no problem. Hey, but the thing in the West is you're never going to be able to manage those two things simultaneously. So you have to come up with a compromise. Second point, the Catholic argument. You mentioned that you wouldn't want, as a man, to leave your family because of a larger responsibility to your children, and that you want your children to be raised in the best possible home, yada yada yada, right? So my question to that is, we can both agree that two-parent households are better than single-parent households, regardless of whether it's a single mom or a single dad, then you are still avoiding the question of why you are absolving women of that responsibility and allowing them to leave the household, but men not so. So if you think that
I'm not absolving a woman of her responsibility, so of what she's done. Of course, my relationship with a woman that cheats on me will change, but if we are married, okay, you have to understand that marriage is more than just satisfying your sexual urges. Marriage is about family. It's about accepting the responsibility that comes with sex, which is family. So me, I would have to think beyond and outside of myself. Now, will my relationship change with that woman? Absolutely will change with that woman. My respect for her will go down.
No, but the point is, you will still stay there. My issue is, if you beat a woman, you abuse her. Well, I mean, it doesn't even have to be physical abuse. It could be mental abuse as well, psychological abuse. But I'm just taking it. I'm steel manning your argument basically. So I'll do the work for you. Okay. So why is the woman encouraged to leave and abandon her duties, while if the man gets cheated on, he's supposed to stay? If we both agree that the ultimate conclusion is that two-parent households are better than single-parent households.
So why is the woman? You have to repeat that question one more time.
You argue that if a woman cheats on the man should stay with the family for the betterment of the kids.
Of course.
But if the man beats the woman doesn't have to stay for the betterment of the kids. That's not, you can't draw those two conclusions and say that, oh, it's for the good of the children, because if that were the case, then both parents should stay in both circumstances.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't speak for a woman because I'm not a woman. The only thing I can do in my life is choose the best possible woman. Okay. And the way I choose the best possible woman is by using my religion. My religion tells me what the best woman is, so I follow that. Now,
no, I'm not talking about your who you make select.
I'll address your point. If that woman chooses to go against her marriage vows, and we are in a marriage, I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision as to what I'm going to do next. Do I abandon my kids, or don't I abandon my kids? Do I completely leave the marriage, or I don't? All right. That's a decision that I have to make for me by myself. And me, because I care about my legacy, I care about I value my children, and who they're going to grow up to become. And because I understand the dangers of a father leaving the household, I would put my pride to the side, and I would make that sacrifice for a woman. Sorry, for my children. Now, if that woman decides to continue to do what she's doing, that's up to her. I can't decide. I can't make a decision for her. All I can do is do what is best for what I believe to be right. And what I believe to be right is not to abandon my children. Will my relationship with that woman change? Absolutely. I can't touch that woman. I can't be near that woman like that. But the thing is, for the sake of my family, I will have to make a sacrifice for my children.
You're avoiding the point. That's not. I'm fine with you holding that viewpoint. My issue is, why is it that you fine? Okay, If you want to stick for the betterment of your family, sure, why not? Okay, let's change up the circumstance. What if the man isn't providing for the woman anymore, or he's neglecting his duties as a man? You're not a woman. That's true. Fine, whatever. But it doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion on it, right? So if your ultimate goal is to maintain the family structure and put your children in the best light possible moving forward, then why do you not hold women to the same standard of, even if a man is neglecting in his duties, I should stay, just as I, as a man, should stay according to you if a woman is neglecting in her duties?
Yeah.
Why the double
but the
standard?
thing is, I can't physically force her to obey her duties. I can't physically force her. That would be abuse.
No, we're not talking about enforcement. We're talking about your opinion of what the values you hold of what should happen. We're not talking about enforcement.
According to my values, marriage is more than just satisfying my sexual urges. Marriage is about my legacy. So I will stay for the sake of my children, and I will fulfill all the duties of a husband.
Should the woman stay?
Sorry, of a father, not
Should
of a
the
husband.
woman stay if the man isn't providing her / and or abusing her? Should the woman stay?
Should the women stay?
Yeah, for the betterment of the kids. Should she stay?
Well, she's not required to stay, but according to what I believe, she should stay.
Okay, so because the last time we spoke here, you said that she should, from a moralistic standpoint, leave.
Well, if she continues to cheat, she needs to leave.
No.
If she decides not to leave, okay, look, what's the best outcome for children is a mother and a father present. If she decides to go against her vows, and she wants to continue to go against her vows, I mean, it's up to her. Should she stay? No, she shouldn't stay.
No, I'm not talking about that.
That's my opinion on it. But I know what the best outcome. Of course, I would never allow that to be in front of my children. But
you're missing my point. That's not the argument I'm making. The argument that I'm making is that if she is being abused, should she stay?
If she's being abused, you mean physical abuse or verbal abuse?
Yes, and it doesn't really matter. If she's being abused by her husband, should she stay if they have children?
Well, okay, if she's being physically abused, she should definitely leave.
Okay, so
of course, hold on. There's a caveat. As you know, in the Catholic religion, we don't accept divorce. We accept separation. So what would happen is they would tell her you cannot remarry, but you, for the sake of your safety.
But she still has an out. She still has an out. It doesn't matter. My point is, why is women?
When it comes to physical abuse, she could be in danger of losing her life. Now,
okay, let's say it's not physical abuse.
I don't believe in verbal psychological abuse. I would have to. A person would have to be more specific as to what exactly that is.
Okay,
let's talk about physical abuse, and she is in danger of losing her life. I suggest that she moves away from that household in order for her to stay safe.
What if it's not threatening to her life?
What do you mean by that?
What if the extent of the physical abuse is not threatening to her life?
So what would you call that? How would that look like?
Okay.
Well, she comes
Alex, can I answer for you on that?
Yeah.
I think what Alex is coming with is that if it's not physical abuse, do you believe in the term of emotional abuse? Is emotional abuse that what? Say that again, Alex.
He doesn't. He doesn't believe in emotional abuse.
Is that a? Well, dude, okay, yeah, neither do I. That's the thing. Because physical abuse, I guess I can get you on that. But if a man is manipulating and being emotionally abusive towards what like, for example, Steven Crowder's situation, they called him an emotional abuser. I disagree on that. But do you think that Steven Crowder's wife to leave him for her little clip of Candace Owens and all those right-wingers saying that he's an emotional abuser, do you believe in that? Is that justified for Steven Crowder's wife to leave him?
No. There's no such thing as emotional abuse. You have to be extremely specific as to what you're talking about.
No, but Jake, do you understand the point, the overarching point that I'm trying to make? Is that the Catholic religion is fundamentally gynocentric, because if a man, let's say a man neglects in his responsibilities for whatever reason, like if he abuses them, let's say he doesn't provide enough for the woman, he basically said that she is allowed to let go of her responsibilities in their marriage and leave whenever she wants. But when she neglects in her duties, i.e., she cheats, the man has to stay for the betterment of the kids.
Well, here's the thing. Alex. Divorce is frowned upon in the Catholic religion. Divorce, in Christianity in general, they don't believe in divorce.
But separation is still an out. You see. Yeah. So that's my point. Why is it a woman is given an out but a man isn't?
No, it's not being given an out. It's understanding that marriage is forever. What it is she's being what's happening is she's not allowed to remarry. She's not allowed to go out and form another relationship with another person. That's what it is. Human beings are not perfect, Alex. And human beings, there's no guarantees to anything. We can only make the best informed decision. That's all we can do. Now, but the thing is, what you have to understand when it comes to marriage, you have to understand that marriage is not one thing. Marriage, marriage is about your legacy. It's about your family. It's not just about the woman. Correct. You're focusing on the woman when you should be focusing on everything else that the marriage is about. It's about raising a good nuclear family. That's what it's about. And you're gonna have understand it, but things are not going to be perfect. That's just the truth of the matter. But it's better than saying I'm done. Because the argument that you're making, the reason why it doesn't make sense is because that's the same thing that modern women do that you complain about.
But men and women are not the same.
As soon as a modern woman is cheated on, she abandons the family, breaks the family, that all of that. Okay?
No, but it doesn't. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, because when a woman separates, you're trying to make the argument that a separation has an equal effect on men and women. No, the woman has all that she wants after a separation because she's gotten the marriage. She has the kids. She's still allowed to visit them. She at least has part of her urges, biological urges, fulfilled. A man doesn't, because when you separate, you just said you're not allowed to remarry. So the man is essentially cut for the rest of his life. It's not the same thing at all.
I don't agree.
Well, Alex, can I ask you something, Alex?
Yeah.
You do realize that when two couples divorce, the woman, when the divorce happens, the woman is at actually a more disadvantage to where she won't be able to replace the man after divorce, especially after their 30s, etc. A woman wouldn't be able to actually replace the man in her 30s than a man can replace a woman. So there is a disadvantage there too when the woman does or the man does divorce the relationship.
No, I understand that, but
when it comes to religion, go on, Alex.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but that's not the argument that he's making. He's saying when Catholics separate, you're not allowed to remarry or go out and find other people if you're the man or the woman, right? I'm saying, sure, a woman
Alex, Alex, do you believe that after a divorce, let's say they have kids, like I'm giving you an example here. Let's say they have children. Let's say they have 3 children. And the oldest is 13. So let's say a couple divorces. Do you believe that it's okay for the woman or the man, etc., to get with another partner afterwards and muddy up the water of their partner's situation? Do you think that's actually like productive for society? Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think that's actually a negative output?
You mean after they get divorced?
Yeah, after they get divorced, is it okay when there's children involved? When there's children involved, is it okay for the couples to go and get together with other people that might have situations that have other children, Is that a good thing? Is that positive, or is that a negative thing?
I will have to think more about that, but at first glance I would say it would be more acceptable for a man than for a woman.
How so?
What'd you think, John? John
Hold
Michel?
on. He's saying it's more acceptable for a man to do that than a woman. Why is it? Why does the gender matter here?
Because a woman's let's say biological urges to form romantic relationships are fundamentally emotional, and a man's aren't.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if
So
you
you're
wanna
saying
bring
that
emo-
because she's more. Okay. So you're saying because she's more emotionally driven,
Yeah,
it's less acceptable for her to get a partner than a man who has children with a woman. Okay. For him
Yeah.
to get with another woman that maybe has other kids or doesn't have other kids, because that's the reality of things. You think that the woman is more acceptable to that. My question again is it more, again, if a man does it, talk about the man. If a man does that, is that net positive for society or net negative?
I mean, like I said, I have to think more about it. I mean, I'm probably leaning on net negative, but at the end of the day, this is not a question of what is ideal. It's a question
Gender.
of what
It's not
is
a question
going
of
to happen.
gender.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's not a question of gender, Alex. Both parties, at the end of the day, when they make babies, at the end of the day, regardless of the law, the whole point is both parties have made a child, and both parties need to be there for said child, because according to statistics, if both parties are not there, that child is more likely to be a fuck up. That child is more likely to end up in jail. If it's a female, that child is more likely to be a whore, a prostitute, on OnlyFans. If the child is a boy, that child is more likely to end up in prison and be a fuck up. So my question to you is there any excuse for these two parents to get divorced? When in reality, I don't give a fuck about the parents' happiness. I don't care about the woman's happiness. I don't care about the man's happiness. Okay. At the end of the day, if you have a child together, the whole point of having that child, the whole point of marriage is to raise kids. Okay. So if the whole point is to raise kids, why would you give a fuck about the man or the woman's happiness? Would you agree that both partners should stay together for the sake of the child?
Okay, I want to address your first point, which was that, oh God, I can't remember what it was. Okay,
Yeah,
the stats.
what's
the
more
divorce.
detrimental?
I mean, if you wanna
Yeah.
talk about stats wise, then let's talk about stats. Single father households do better than single mother households. So I mean,
Correct.
just based on that, like I would say that's my basis for it being more acceptable. More acceptable doesn't mean acceptable.
And here's the thing, Alex, I can agree with you on that, but I'm saying that as a father, as a man, your responsibility is to be a leader, correct?
Yeah, okay, I'll answer this point now. Why? Okay, the reason why I would say that it would be okay for a man to leave is because you don't want to be raising a kid in an environment whereby the mother is basically has the man by the balls. It doesn't do well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, Alex.
Yeah. So that
I
was
get you
my
on that, Alex.
why.
Let me chime in.
But why is it an excuse?
Hold on, Jake. Hold on.
Let me just chime in. So I agree with that. I think that this is where I probably disagree with Nelson. But also, I'm not Catholic. So Nelson is beholden to his religious beliefs. I'm not. And I think, personally, if you have a situation where the wife is cheated on the man, I personally couldn't stay in that environment, because for me, that wouldn't be a good example for my particularly male child, particularly. That I'm now still protected and provided for a woman that's been unfaithful. That's just my view in it. I think that would, and also I just know my character. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to be under the same roof as someone, as my wife, who she slept with and she's lied with another man. I couldn't physically be in that same environment as her. But again, I'm not beholden to any religion, so I can make that. I don't have to make that sacrifice. Nobody is prepared to make that sacrifice. I'm not prepared to make that sacrifice. So I think it's very individual to the fact that Nelson is beholden to religion while he's doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I am like, I'm just like Jean-Michel. I would find it extremely difficult to be under that environment if it wasn't for my religious beliefs, if it wasn't for the fact that I understood this to be the truth or the right way, the right cause. I could never. It's just not in my character to even be in that situation. But the reason why I would do it is because I understand what marriage is. All right. Marriage is not two perfect people that are going to be perfect forever. Marriage is more to do with the children than with me. Life. If you look at life in general, life is all about sacrifices. If you want to achieve anything in life, it's about sacrifices, about giving up in order to sacrifice for something better. And I understand the danger of me leaving that household. If I leave that household, that is it for my children. That is it. That is it. Forget my legacy. Forget everything that I hope for, because one day I'm going to pass away. I'm not going to live forever. One day I'm going to die.
Yeah, correct.
And the only thing that
And
hold on. And I'm not going to take my riches with me. I'm not going to take all the money that I've earned with me. I'm not going to take any of that to the grave. Guess what I'm going to leave behind? My children. And if my children don't have the right morals, they were not raised properly, then I've basically failed in life. Literally.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit, because
Yes.
I'm in a situation where I was married and I was divorced, and I'm very much in my son's life, and he's a very upstanding citizen. So I don't think the idea that because you're not married that your legacy disappears, and your child goes to hell. Not necessarily. If you are a responsible father or mother, you can still raise a capable child in as a separated, the divorcee. Basically, you could still do it. Obviously, it's not ideal. You'd rather be, 24/7 and within a family unit. But I think the idea that all children that are, if you have a separation or a divorce, that the children are automatically doomed. Is not necessarily, because there's children because there's children in marriages now. My son has friends, and their parents are married, and those children are in trouble with the police every 5 minutes. My son has never even been involved with any criminal behavior. You know what I mean? So it does depend more on the parent, and I think, obviously, ideally, you would want to be in a family unit.
Yeah, just let me clear that up. Not all, not all, and there's two sides to raising children properly. Of course, the ideal is two parents at home. That's the ideal, being raised by two parents. But there's a second aspect to raising a child, which is we give children academic education and we leave them to it. All right. Moral education. Most parents are not out here giving their children moral education. All right. So you have to give, in order for you to raise successful children, of course, nothing is guaranteed in life. You can do the best you can as a parent, and your children can still turn up F up. But as a rule, we know that children that are raised by two parents with a good moral education, as well as a good academic education, they usually turn out better than the ones that don't have that. Okay, is that every single one of them? No, but is that the majority? Absolutely. So it takes more than two parents to raise a child. It takes a parents with good morals and good values to raise children. What's happening is, what you have these days is you have the new type of parents, right? Where they don't have no moral education. They let the kid go out there, and they allow the schools to indoctrinate them into every type of degeneracy. And they encourage every type of bad behavior, and then the children turns up to be a fuck up. That's basically what's happening today. All right, but
that's more about single mothers and absent fathers. Single mothers, absent
guys,
fathers.
Can I also chime in here? Because our original topic is about the 50 body counts. Obviously,
let's go back
something that
to
Myron
Let's go
Gain
back
has
to
talked
that.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, even then, I wanted to talk about Octavio's take on marriage, etc., because it's also
Hold
my
on, Jake.
take.
Jake.
And
Hold on.
believe it,
Jake. Sorry, Jake. Hold on. We have another half an hour, guys. Yeah, we have another half an hour. We've been on the live for 3 hours. It's been absolutely amazing, guys. Trust me, I love it. We need to have these back and forths all the time. By the way,
yes,
yeah. Go ahead.
Definitely.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So what I was saying is that, Octavio's point of view when it comes to marriage, like that man aspect, the leadership aspect. Going back to Myron says the same exact shit, guys. Like, you want to talk about Myron talking about like how to develop and how to spot good women. Myron was raised in a 2-parent household where he had a man in his house, like his father, that was very much a masculine figure in his household, that he was a masculine male and his mother was a feminine female. Like, Myron does believe in every single fucking point that Octavio has been talking about. The difference is that I don't think Octavio has seen those takes about Myron, and I've seen a lot of Fresh and Fit. I've seen a lot of Andrew Tate. Like, a lot of these guys, I know that they say things a certain way, but bro, these guys are super conservative when it comes to family and how to raise families. Yes, they talk about like the 50 body count, and yes, you can argue on that, but at the end of the day, these guys are preaching the same thing about fucking actual conservative values in today's society, that if it was up to them, they would want that as well. Kevin Samuels was also an advocate for marriage. Dude, they're doing the same thing.
One.
Yes, they're preaching.
Kevin
Oh, yes.
That's
yes.
right. Kevin Samuel was the only one that genuinely,
Sure,
as part of his message, this is why to me he's the GOAT and will always be the GOAT. Because he was the only one that made it a point of his message that I have an end game. My end game is marriage, and he celebrated when his advocates got married. When his followers got married, he made a point of putting that forward. I hear what you're saying about Myron. Myron does come from that background, and he says he's going to ultimately get married. My issue is this idea that you can then shit your whole, not okay. Let me clean up my language. Engage yourself in very seedy behavior, because that's what he does do. He's been known to be part of these what do you call these websites with sugar daddy websites. He's okay.
But JM, you're missing the point there.
Prostitutes. Well,
can I address the sugar sites? Because
Can
I address the sugar sites? Because you've mentioned that several times before. Look, when Fresh and Fit first came on the scene, they talked about the sugar sites. Yes, they did. That is 100% true. But when they were talking about the sugar sites, they were saying that when you have to use every fucking tool that you have, because nowadays, again, it's about 30% of men nowadays report celibacy. They're lonely. They're depressed. Okay. That's an actual statistic these days. Myron was saying use the sugar sites to best meet women, okay, and adjust yourself, etc. Look, I'm not saying it's the best advice. But what I am saying is that Myron is not there. Myron's not there to say that sugar sites are like the best thing ever. Everybody needs a sugar site and fucking do these things. What he's saying is that you need to adjust yourself as a man. The main message is developing your money and your body, okay, and your mind. That's the main message. You guys want to focus on the sugar sites and the fucking other shit that he.
Yeah, do you know why I focus on that?
Okay, why would you? It's irrelevant to the main message, though. Why would you focus on that when the main message is about him getting fucking better on men and how to develop yourself before going into the sexual marketplace? Why would you focus on bullshit like that?
I'll tell you why. The reason why I focus on that, because to me it's a contradiction. Those sites. Let me tell you why. To me, this is me. Anyone that's associated with
Hmm.
that type of those type of websites is a simp to me. You see, when I grew up, I wouldn't even have
Yeah,
acknowledged.
and we were
When
all
okay,
simps. We were all
no, no, no,
simps
no, no,
growing
no,
up.
no, 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 no.
I
I
was a
wasn't.
simp at
Guess
one
what?
point.
I
Hold
wasn't.
on,
That's
Jay,
You
not
hold on.
right.
weren't. I was. I
Okay,
used to
I
be a
didn't have.
simp at one point.
No, no, no. We used to
And I think
laugh at guys.
99% of
Hold on,
men were simps.
Jake. We used to laugh at guys that would have to go that route growing up. We would laugh at guys
Yeah,
that did that. We would say, "You
sure.
what? You
I
have
got
to go
laughed at
to
when
a
I was
website."
going in high school.
Right. So when I was younger, I didn't have. We never did any of this. We went out in the as Alex was saying, cold. We went out. We went in. We
Fair enough.
went out to clubs. Went out to the street. Saw women. Hey, how you doing? Have a conversation. Take it from there. You know why we did that? Because in
Right.
that way you have some element of control, and also you had some idea of who you're going for. Okay, let me go. Let me observe this woman for a bit. Okay, she seems like a decent woman. Let me go. On these sites, there's no good women on these sites. On the sugar daddy website, you're looking to get used and abused because the women on there are only looking for men with money. That's not a good advice for
But
a man.
JM,
On the one hand, you're saying build your money up. You build your money up. You go on these websites where the women are just looking for men with money. A weak man who gets caught up in that situation, who's not used to dealing with women,
sure.
he'll lose his money. That same money he's built up, he's gonna lose it on those websites with those type of women who were very manipulative
But JM,
and crafty.
But Jam,
Right.
you literally sat there and said, I made fun of all these simps that were losers, etc.
Well, I wouldn't make
Probably
fun of them.
because
We
you were
wouldn't.
better with women. Yeah, probably because you were better with women than your peers, JM. Obviously, dude, you're not a fat piece of shit. You don't look like a fucking unattractive guy. I'm more than certain that you actually were pretty good with women at the time when you were single. Okay. But you have to realize that most men don't have that luxury of fucking analyzing the situation and actually going about their like getting with women. Myron is speaking to the minority of men, like a huge minority of men that can't fucking deal with women at all. They're so fucking like they don't understand women at all whatsoever. Myron is just
Do you mean
saying
incels?
you
Are you talking
have
about
to.
incels? Are you talking about incels?
No, not incels.
That's what
No,
it
no,
says.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no.
okay, okay.
I'm talking
All right.
about men. I'm talking about men. I'm talking about men because, dude,
Mhm.
even with me, yes, I'm in your situation, but I had a lot of friends, bro, that just couldn't understand how to deal with women. But I didn't have the knowledge to fucking tell them how to deal with it because it just came natural to me. But at the end of the
Right.
day, there's a lot of men like that. There's a lot of men like that, guys. So that's why I'm saying when I asked Octavio about his sexual history, dude, he had no problem with women. And then I'm asking you, and
No.
you had no problem with women. But at the same time, you're criticizing Myron for speaking to the men that literally cannot fucking
No.
deal with the fact of how to get women. You
It's not
guys make
criticizing him
fun
for
of them.
talking.
Myron actually
No,
cares
it's-
about those individuals.
Okay, it's how you do it. See, for me, okay, I don't have an issue with him addressing those women. I think that's actually one of the things I liked about Myron is that I could see at some level, maybe it's got a bit. I'm not too sure now, but when I first started listening to Myron, I thought this guy generally is trying to help these guys that are struggling. Okay, but then I'm going to analyze how is he addressing those men, and I think some of the information he gives them, which
Watch his content.
which potentially puts them. I used to watch it a lot. Some of the message he gives them potentially could put them in harm's way of very unscrupulous women. Is what I'm saying. Don't you agree that sometimes some of the information he gives potentially could put some of these guys in very around very unscrupulous women?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Okay, listen,
Not at all.
guys,
I
think
disagree.
so.
can I just because we're going to be finishing soon. I just want to address
Yeah.
this point. Jake brought it up. He asked me about my horrific history that I'm not proud of. Okay, and it's the same thing that me and
Dustin was a terrible player back in the day.
it's the same thing that me and John Michelle were it's the same thing that me and John Michelle were basically addressing with Alex. When we were saying, okay, break it down. How would that work? Chatting up women, talking to women every day, and so on. How, the process of it? How does that work? So, bro, the reason why it didn't help me find my woman, or it didn't help me find a good woman, is because if I was to break down the reality of what it involves to sleep with loads of different women, or to have women on rotation, all right. If I was to break down that reality, all right, what
Another line.
what you get is
Another line.
what you get is drama. Yeah, this is what you get. What you
I
get
think.
is, yeah, exactly. What you get is potential abortions. What you get is what do you call it? What you get is police at your door. All right. What you
Yeah,
get
but
is
you never got that, right, Octavio?
listen,
You
listen.
never got it.
Listen, just listen. Yeah, I did, bro. Listen. What you get?
I'm just saying, bro.
What you get is jealous women that
Yeah.
that have very violent tendencies. All right.
Absolutely.
What you get, you sweat whenever she tells you I'm not pregnant, because she's already a hoe. She's a promiscuous woman. Sorry for the bad language. When a promiscuous woman is out there and she says, no, I didn't get pregnant, right? That is the best news on earth. That is like, woo, yo, that was a close one. That's what you get. The point is, you open yourself
Yeah, you
up.
toast it.
When you sleep with many different women, you open yourself up to so many mistakes that you can make. You open yourself up to having baby mamas after baby mamas. You open yourself up to police being in your case. You open yourself, and Fresh and Fit don't give you that reality. They give you this. They make it look like it's so nice, bro. Just go out there, and it's not the case at all. It is not. When you are truly involved in that lifestyle consistently, and most of these guys are not going to be as careful as someone like, let's say, as Myron is. All right, they're not going to be as careful. They're going to go out there and they're just going to want to satisfy their lustful desire.
Now, so let me interrupt you for 10 seconds. Another thing too, not many men are built for this. What Nelson's talking about, I've been through it, and you have to have a certain fortitude about yourself to deal with the amount of stuff Nelson's talking about. You got this one jealous, this one's trying to get you back, this one's calling the next man for you. This one's got, hey, listen, if you're not built at something, you can fold under those circumstances. And some of these guys out here that Maro's talking to, mate, if they get involved in that, they will be wiped out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna get that experience.
And just to finish my point, what gave me peace is when I stopped that lifestyle and I went back to the values that I was raised with. That's what allowed me to see. Before that, do you know what I was doing, bro? It was just trying to bang the next one. It was almost like a competition.
Yeah, and through experience, you were actually having experience that most men don't have to have that.
No, it wasn't.
Most men are killing themselves because they don't have the attention of women that you did when you were younger, Octavio.
No, bro. It was literally a headache. Apart from being a headache, it was and bro, I could have ended up with a hole for baby mom. You see what I'm saying? I could have ended up with all of these,
just like a lot of guys.
As possible thing. So it's not good advice. It was only when I came to my senses and I said, if I carry on like this, I'm gonna end up like most of my friends did. I'm sorry.
Sure,
I can't do that no more. So I went back to my values, and it was my values that led me to a good woman. Because before then, guess where I would go to find these women? Where do you think you go to find these women? Yeah.
The bars.
Yeah, bars. Yeah.
Hold on. And the easier, she was, hey, why not? The apartment is just over here. Let's go. Bro, you become addicted to sex.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's what it is.
But have you ever thought of the possibility that if you hadn't done all of that and gained that experience, when you met your wife, she wouldn't want you, even if you had those moral values?
No, I never thought
Why?
of that possibility at all. Huh?
Don't you gain something from experience? You learn how to treat women. It's not just a
The only
playbook,
thing I gained,
Bible.
when I look back at my experience, the only thing I gained from it, what was to say, whew, that was close. That's the only. It's almost like
Yeah, but you say that in hindsight. You say that in hindsight. It's very easy to make
You know what?
comments.
No, you know what? No, so I'm not going to dismiss what Alex is saying because I see where Alex is coming from, and he has a bit of a point. I'm going to give him that because even speaking for myself, you do gain a little bit of something about yourself when you go through. I'm not going to give any numbers, but yeah, you know, you do learn. It does make you equipped. My thing is that's something that we did blindly. Like, I didn't set out to do it. There wasn't like an agenda. You know what I mean? There wasn't a coldness to what I was doing. It was just basically just being young and just, you know, being out there. And I think so. I wasn't like when I got with certain women, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to be 2 months time. This is 2 months, and I got to get on to the next one to get more experience and find out about. You know what I mean? It was done more kind of spontaneous.
Naturally.
Yeah, and if things broke up, they broke up sometimes because everybody didn't want it to break up. Sometimes it just me was just being a bit of a dickhead. You know what I mean? It wasn't calculated like, okay, I've got her for 2 months. Okay, now I'm going to go for 3 months, and then that's what I'm against. I'm against that kind of cold, calculated thinking of I need to get this certain amount of body count before I start thinking about. You know what I mean?
I
That's
completely
where I
disagree
think
with Alex.
yeah.
I completely disagree with Alex. I completely disagree with Jean-Michel. I'll tell you straight up right now, yeah. I'll tell you straight up right now. That lifestyle, yeah, could have got me 6 baby mamas, Alex. Is that what you wanted? Yeah, you wanted me to have 6 baby moms, yeah. That's
Well,
exactly
no.
That lifestyle,
There's always
that lifestyle can lead so many men. It's leading so many men astray. It's literally incredible because most men are just, most men are not thinking experience, and experience doesn't help because guess what experience does? Experience only wants to make you indulge in your lustful desires even more. Do you know what? If it wasn't for my religious values stopping me, I would have continued to just want to have sex with different women all the time.
Who are the gatekeepers of sex?
Hold on, Myron.
Who are the gatekeepers? It's women.
Hold on.
No. Who are the gatekeepers? Women.
Women. Hold on. Let me just finish this point.
So women allow you into their fucking legs. So it's not your decision. It's the woman's decision, not yours, Octavio.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Of course.
Wait. I'll address that.
It's the promiscuous lifestyle that women promote on why there's so many fucking baby mamas, why they have so many different baby daddies. It's the woman's decision because she's the one that decides who is let into her fucking pussy.
Jake,
I think that's where Alex was coming from here.
No, I was seeking them out, Jake.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, Octavio, because just because you were good at it, literally 80% of men are not good at that. 80% of men are not good at what you just did when you were young. Okay? You're contributing to the fact that every man is just as good at getting pussy as you were. It's not true, Octavio. It's not true.
Jake, all I was doing was satisfying my lustful desires. I wasn't pursuing nothing meaningful. All it was just for me to be lustful. Let me tell you something. And Myron,
but men can't do that. Men cannot fucking go out there and be lustful like you.
Hold on, Myron is on his 300, right?
Yeah.
How much more of the female nature does he need to understand? Another thing, Myron isn't going.
He already understands it.
Wait. Myron isn't going to stop there. He's going to continue.
Sure. That's his decision.
So hold on. The red pill actually advocates for you to continue to sleep with different women even after you get married. Even after you get married.
No.
It's like this. Hold on. After you get married, they say it's not a big deal for a man to exercise his options from time to time.
They do say that.
Yeah,
a
Kevin
woman- and a
Samuels
woman-
said that. Yeah.
Hold on a second, hold on. And a woman should not leave him. So the red pill doesn't just say, oh, sleep with this amount
Kevin
of women.
Samuels said that. Yeah.
Even though they don't outline all the risks that comes with sleeping with different women, all the risks, which I think is very disingenuous of them to not highlight all the risks that come with sleeping and dealing with different women. Then they turn around and they say, do you know what? Find a woman, all right? Don't get married to them. And guess what? After that, you can still sleep around with different women, and it's not a big deal. So what they're promoting
Can I
is
say something?
lustful behavior.
How about Kevin Samuels, who said you can go ahead and spin plates, and he was an advocate for marriage? Kevin Samuels
easy.
was an advocate saying that you can go out there. He literally said this. That's quote. He said, a man doesn't cheat. He exercise options. That's Kevin Samuels that said a man does not cheat. He exercise options. So why is it that you like Kevin Samuels so much that advocated for marriage, which I think I'm more on the Kevin Samuels side. I think Myron is on that side too. You're just misinterpreting Myron's language. My point is that Kevin Samuels said a man that goes out there, if he cheats, he's exercising options. There's no excuse for a woman to divorce him. And he was also an advocate for marriage. So,
Can I answer that,
Octavio,
Nelson? Let me answer
if
that.
you want to criticize Myron, you're at the same time criticizing Kevin Samuels.
But Jake,
No,
Kevin
no,
Samuels,
go
hold on,
ahead.
Nelson, hold on. Kevin Samuels said he never cheated in his marriages. So what he was saying was, obviously,
He got
in a
divorced
situation-
twice. He got divorced
Okay, but-
twice.
That's true, but he did also say that he never cheated in his marriages. He said it's not something that I do. He did.
He
clarify
exercised
that he-
options. Yes.
No,
And he said
no,
he exercised
no,
options. I'm sure he fucked
No,
other girls
no,
outside of his marriage,
no,
but that's just
no.
exercising options.
No,
Hold on,
he
one
said
at
he
a
did-
time, one at a time.
yeah, he said he didn't do that. He said there's men
He
that
exercised
do that. and
options.
women- and-
Yes, he
and
doesn't
the
count
woman-
that as cheating.
No, he said he didn't go outside of his marriages. This is what he said.
How would you
And
know?
this is what, that's why I said this. This is why I say this is what he said. I'm just making the point that it wasn't as clear cut as saying if you're married, men go and cheat. That wasn't his message. He said that if a
I didn't
man
say that.
exercises, okay, fair enough. If a man exercises his options, then as long as he's not forsaken his marriage, that's one thing. But he said a man shouldn't feel that he has to do it. Is what he that's what he said. Okay, a man shouldn't feel that he has to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
And
And Myron says, Myron says, if you're going to do that, you have to be honest with the woman. He says,
Yeah,
do not
fair
cheat
enough.
on the woman. Tell her and be honest. Myron's very honest how he goes about and how he gives that advice. He says, do
And I
not cheat
agree
on the
with
woman.
that.
Do
I
not
agree with that.
go
I
behind
agree
her
with that.
back. Myron says, don't go behind her back. Don't do any of that bullshit. He says, that's a headache. Don't do that shit, guys. He says, be honest. If you're going to do those things, be honest with your woman. So
I agree
again,
with that.
it's the
Jake,
same
Jake.
message as Kevin Samuels, but you
No,
guys
it's
like
not.
Kevin,
No.
but you hate on Myron. Why is that?
It's not the same message, Jake. And here's why. Yes, you're absolutely right. Myron says, do not cheat. Okay. Do not cheat. Be honest with her and so on. Right. Okay. But the overall message from Myron does not lead to marriage. It does not lead to marriage.
I
He
disagree.
says it does not lead to marriage at all. Okay, he's telling men to be honest and upfront. Let me tell you something. He also says that the only men that can be honest
Myron
and upfront
advocates for marriage.
it is men that have a considerable
come on.
amount. Hold on, that has a considerable amount of
He
money.
advocates for marriage, bro.
Power. Hold on a second. Myron has also said that the average guy does not have the pull to actually be able to be honest with a woman. Okay,
That's
if he
true.
does
That's true.
only men. Hold on, wait. Only men that have that type of money, that type of influence, and those type of men usually fall under the 20%. So what is Myron really saying here? He's saying that the average man has to lie. Hold on, wait.
No, he's
The
saying.
average man, hold on.
No,
let me finish.
no, he's not saying that the average man should lie. He's not.
No, wait. Let me finish my point. Because the type of women that he describes are the type of women that will only go for that will only accept that type of honesty from the type of men that have that are part of the 20%. The fact is this: most men
Sure,
are
that's
not
the
going
woman's case,
to.
though.
Most men are on the
That's the
80%.
woman's problem.
Hold on, wait. Most men are in the 80%. Most men are in the 80%. Most men are not going to have the power to be able to be that honest with a woman. Okay, so
Sure.
regardless,
And he says
he
that.
is. Hold on, and he gives many examples. He tells women, "Do you know why men don't tell you the truth? Because you can't handle the truth." Okay,
They're poor.
because
Yeah,
if
they
you
can't
tell
handle the truth, and those guys don't have enough fucking value to tell the truth.
Hold on. So he advocates for lying. Let me tell.
No, he doesn't.
Wait.
It's
For
not
Kevin
lying.
Samuel, wait. Let me finish my thought, guys. For Kevin Samuels is a bit different. Kevin Samuels advocates for marriage. What he's saying is, if a man ends up for some reason cheating, it shouldn't be that big of a deal that you're going to go and destroy the marriage over it. Myron
says the same thing. He says the same thing.
Yeah, he says the same thing, but his overall message
He does.
it's not towards marriage. It's not
And
towards
Myron's mentor,
Bruh.
Myron's mentor is Rollo Tomasi. Okay, that Rollo Tomasi guy.
And
who
Rollo
I find
advocates
weird.
for marriage. Rollo's
No,
actually
he doesn't.
married to a
No,
woman
that's the
for a
funny
fucking
thing
year.
about him.
Yes, he's married.
Yeah, he's
actually
but
married.
He tells men not, I know, but he tells men not to get married, and I've actually seen him
That's
say
not
that.
true. No, he
I
says
don't. He said
he
that in
says
this day
that
and age,
you have to.
I don't. Him and the other guy, that guy, I think he's I don't know. He looks like I don't know if he's Hispanic. The guy he does a show with. Both of those guys say they advocate
Mike
young
Sartain?
men not to get married. They say for men not to get married.
Wait. Hold on, guys. Wait.
That's easy. I say all the time, in today's day and age, you shouldn't be getting married until you're at least 35.
That was my
man.
next question
As a
for you. As a man, what age
What
should
about
you
women?
consider getting married?
So I have this is my thing that I tell guys.
Yeah.
I think 35 years old, had slept with at least 50 women, 100K per year. You're in shape, and you got 6 months to 1 year of savings.
All right, done. I got to get married. I've done all that.
Okay, now check this out. Hold on. Wait. Stay there.
What's wrong with
Stay
that?
there.
You're proving my point even more.
Hold on. Stay there. Don't go nowhere. Even though we're gonna finish soon. Don't go nowhere, guys. Don't go nowhere. There's another one.
Show it to me, baby. I got it.
Not this one. Not this one again.
Before you do that, Nelson, while you're doing that, I'm reading you a quote from Rollo Tomasi. This is what I'm reading. Rollo Tomasi advises against getting married, as he believes that the traditional marriage model is unfair and puts men at a disadvantage. Instead,
That's
he
true.
suggests that men focus on building fulfilling relationships outside of marriage. He said that on the 8th of
Hold on,
January.
guys. Can we pause? Can we pause real quick? Hold on,
This
real
is Rollo
quick.
Tomasi, a married man telling young men that he's against them getting married. And I knew I heard him saying that.
He was referring to state marriages, not religious marriages.
Hold on. Let me
yeah.
just address the state marriage thing. Most people, Alex, most men in the West are atheists. Okay, most
Right.
men in the West are not religious. So this idea that it should be a religious marriage, to who? All these guys are atheists. All these guys are degenerates.
You don't necessarily have to have a religious marriage, but he means, when I say religious marriage, it is more of an umbrella term for any marriage that the state is not involved in.
But the point is, he's still advocating men not to get married, and he's a married man, which is just
because he's referring to state marriages and that. I'm pretty sure.
But he has a state marriage.
Yeah, I know. Well, when was he married? 20, 30 years ago, when the landscape was different.
Yeah, but the men he's talking to, and as Delta says, these are Western men that don't have strong religious values anyway. So he's not talking to men that would be looking for religious marriages. He's telling men that his audience are men that don't have strong religious beliefs anyway.
They're all
well,
And by the way, Rollo Tomasi is Myron's mentor.
No, well,
Sure,
not the
but
only one.
Well, he
well,
says
to
that
an
himself.
extent. To an extent, I understand that. I understand that statement. I get you there. At the end of the day, Myron again does advocate for marriage. He just doesn't like the fact that marriage nowadays, under the laws of the West, specifically the United States, women have all the advantage towards marriage. Okay, women are literally incentivied for breaking up marriages. Okay, they get all the benefits while men don't. And if you look at statistics on suicide rates, men are offing themselves because women have all the control over the kids. Women get 90% of alimony. Women get I think 90% of child support, etc. So men are at a disadvantage when it comes to marriage. I don't find anything wrong that we should advocate for marriage, but at the same time, we need to call out the facts that the government has put men at a disadvantage when it comes to marriage. Okay. So men are logical creatures. This is why men don't actually get married anymore, because they're logical. But women, on the other hand, want to get married because they benefit off of that. I mean,
But also,
how
guys,
is that
this
anything
isn't just
wrong?
about Myron, by the way. This isn't just about Myron, because the title is Red Pill. So we've got to look at all the Red Pill providers. Another one, this Pearl. whatever
Just
her
like
name
Kevin
is,
Samuels
Pearl.
was also red pill. Yeah.
No, I don't believe Kevin Samuels was Red Pill personally. But anyway,
He
Pearl,
was
this
red
Pearl
pill, bro.
lady.
Like Kevin Samuels preached a
he
lot of
wasn't.
Rollo Tomasi shit as well in his videos. He literally preached a lot of Rollo Tomasi. He
Well,
did
they're
it
going to
in
be
his own
crossover.
way,
Definitely
sure.
going to be crossover. They're going to be crossover with what he was
They
teaching,
were
which is what I would
friends,
say
bro.
more
They were
manosphere.
literally so close to each other.
I would say
Oh,
Kevin
no.
was more manosphere than he was more manosphere, because he never really used the term red pill, where also Rollo Tomasi is the godfather of the red pill.
Dude,
But anyway,
Kevin knew
but
exactly who Rollo was. They were
yeah,
close
I'm not
together.
disputing that.
They
I'm
were
not
actually
disputing that.
friends.
But
They
you
were
can be
very
close to
close
someone
to
or not.
one
Like
another.
yeah, but me and Nelson are close. So I don't, I'm not Catholic. I don't believe, he doesn't believe.
But Kevin actually had a lot of his talking points based off of Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male, and he's admitted that too. Like they were actually close enough to where like Kevin was very well advised off of Rollo Tomasi's book. Like, dude, it's not like Kevin didn't know.
Jake,
Kevin
I've
read
read
his
that
book and agreed with it.
Hold on, guys, hold on. There are truths that are recognizable
that's the
to
point.
anyone. All right.
Yeah.
So, for example, just because let's say just because Rollo Tomasi might say something that I agree with, and I can recognize it as that being
Sure.
the truth. For example, women initiate 80% of divorces. This is a fact. This is not some special truth. This is a fact. We can all see that. Women are more emotional than men are. This is a fact. Women, these are facts. These are not something that makes Rollo Tomasi more special than. It's not Rollo Tomasi teaching it. He agreed with them, but where they both went their separate ways is where you have what do you call it? Where you have Kevin Samuels advocating for marriage to such an extent that he created a Facebook page, and then later on you have someone like Rollo Tomasi saying that we should, saying that we should no family creation, don't vasectomy.
You're talking about the vaccination tweet, bro.
No, that was the.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was how to become a high value man quickly. And one of the rules in there is no family creation. Get a vasectomy.
As a 18-year-old and 20-year-old, sure. That's different rules though. He's not advocating against family creation though.
I personally think that is advocating against family creation, because a man should.
It's not because.
What do you mean?
He
Why
was
is it
addressing young men, saying, "Don't go out there and fuck and start a family, because it could actually mitigate your way to success, because that's what that is." Again, yes, the ending result is to have a kid, but when you're 19, 18, 20 years old, you don't want to start a family that early, because at that age you're a fucking loser. You need to fucking build up yourself. That's the whole thing. And Kevin Samuels, I'm more than certain, would agree with that.
No, I'll tell you what would happen. I'll tell you what would happen, Jake. If I was told to get a vasectomy, okay, in the hopes of being a high value man, let's be clear. Most men are not going to become high value men in the sense of achieving great financial success.
Sure.
So what will happen for the 80% that will not become that? Here's what's going to become. They're going to get a vasectomy.
They're still going to be successful in their own way.
Wait. They're going to become. They're going to get a vasectomy. They're going to follow Rollo Tomasi's way. They're going to become addicted because we all know the red pill tells you to get a body count of 50. They're going to become addicted, sleeping with different women. Now that they're not getting pregnant, guess what? They're going to continue sleeping with them. So what's going to happen is it's going to increase the body count. They're going to pursue. And let me tell you something, Jake. Anyone who pursues success does not pursue women at the same time. You have to sacrifice one or the other. Most men that are successful are not out here living a life of chasing women at the same time. And if you get a vasectomy, Jake,
the vast majority don't.
Hold on, Jake. In an extremely sexualized society, yeah, for a young man at 18 to get a vasectomy is an encouragement for him to go and add to the promiscuity, add to the problems that we see in society. He's going to become even more lustful than he was before. And
who are the gatekeepers of sex?
Sorry?
Who are the gatekeepers of sex?
Women.
Who are the gatekeepers of sex? Men or women?
Women.
So why is it that you're saying that because the guy has a vasectomy, he's out there being a slut maker, when in reality, most men aren't out there fucking a whole bunch of bitches? That's a small percentage of men.
It doesn't matter how much a man wants to have sex if he can't.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can. Guess what you can do?
That's not a good argument, Octavio.
No, guess what you can do as a man if you want sex? You can pay for it.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, you're not going to get the actual like burning desire of a woman where you actually go out there and hunt. Okay. Men are hunters. When a man pays for it, he's not actually getting the satisfaction of being a hunter. He's out there paying for it. At the end of the day, you're going to be just like Jeffrey Epstein, who pays for all of his victims. And he ends up like that, which, by the way, he was raised in a single parent household, a mother. So that's another thing of how women raise these weak men that are fucking losers and have female energy. At the end of the day, a man that works for it doesn't have female energy, Octavio.
Jake, how come most men are paying for it? How come most men are paying for it?
Not most men are. Most men are not paying for sex. That's not true.
Okay.
Most men are not paying for sex.
Is OnlyFans rising or going down?
Oh, it's going greatly, but they're not having sex with the OnlyFans members. That's a whole other subject. If you want to talk about that.
Okay, listen, guys, we're gonna finish soon.
Sure, but they're not paying for sex. There's a difference. Sure.
That's not how lust works, Jake. Jake, listen. Most men, yes, but most men are not having sex like that. They're not fulfilling their fantasies like that. But guess what most men are doing?
Exactly.
They are watching porn, Jake.
They're paying.
Most men are paying for OnlyFans, Jake. They are still lusting. They are still indulging in lust.
I agree.
And the point is, as long as men keep giving resources, women will give them the illusion of sex. Okay, and that is the exchange. So a man, the way the men thinks is, I just have to have money now in order for me to get access to sex. Because guess what? Women are going to make it more and more extremely difficult if they know they can charge for it. And that's basically what's.
Where did they get that from, though?
Hold on, Jake. That's the direction society is heading. That women are going to become more lustful. But I'm going to give you guys the last word because we have to finish now. Go ahead, guys.
Octavio, my last question. Octavio, my last question. How is it that these men believe that they can just make money and get women? Like where does that come from? Because I know for a fact that's not Myron Gaines, because Myron Gaines never said that. Where are they getting the idea that just because they have money that all their problems will be solved? Because it's not Myron Gaines or the red pill, that's for sure.
No, it is well, where do they get the idea from? They get the idea from society.
Yeah, it's not the red pill.
They get the
Okay.
idea from
All
the
right,
way
there you go.
society is heading. They get the idea because
Sure. It's not
society
Myron though.
Hold on. No. Now it's Myron. But but if you're
No, it's not.
asking if you're asking, hold on, if you're asking for a timeline, yeah, I can tell you, I can give you the timeline when society became more promiscuous because of the hookup culture, because of the sexual revolution. I can give you a timeline of how it started, and now the people advocating for it is the red pill. Red pill is advocating for the same thing
No,
that
it's not.
feminism advocates for. And hold on a second. Women are going to become more ruthless in terms of getting resources and attention, and men are going to become more ruthless in terms of this is why only the 20%, Jake, gets access. Why? Because women are not going for the 80%. Why? Because the 80% don't have
Small
the
percentage.
resources. Yeah, they don't have the resources that women want. So most
And this
women,
is,
yeah, go ahead.
this is my issue, is that the stuff that Myron talks about in terms of his strategies for getting women, if it was the 30% that get women listening to, they would be able to, they would understand what he's saying and implementing it, they'll be successful. The other men that he claims to be speaking to, they won't be able to do it. Because what people don't understand, and this is the uncomfortable truth that some people don't seem to understand, that at the end of the day, some men are just not built for this lifestyle of multiple women and money and muscle. That's not most men won't achieve it. Most men are never going to achieve that. They haven't got the genetics for it. They haven't got the intelligence for it, and they haven't got, let's be real, the looks for it. So
Yeah.
his message lands on a lot of men that are got that kind of baseline situation where they're kind of already attractive to women type of thing, and they can just add a few bits and pieces here. The money aspect, they got some sense to them, so they can add the intelligence part and the game part. Fair enough.
But
That's not
most
his
of
audience.
the things that you mentioned are well within
that's
male
not his.
control.
Yeah, but that's not his audience, though. That's my issue. That's not his audience. His audience seems to be guys that don't have an absolute clue about even the basics. And when you're dealing with that audience, the stuff he's telling them is not going to help those men. It's actually going to be a disservice to those men.
Guys, last thoughts.
That's my last thoughts. That's my last
Yes. Can I start with the last thoughts?
Yes, of course.
So we're gonna do last thought. Yeah, we're gonna do last thoughts already. Interesting takes here, but I'll tell you this. My last thoughts is Octavio. I don't believe Octavio understands Myron or the red pill to the same extent of what it actually is. The red pill is only just truth and how to handle said truth. Okay. And just like in the Matrix movie, it's like you take the red pill or the blue pill. If you take the blue pill, you're living in a fantasy. If you take the red pill, you're living in reality, and you take reality and you adjust to said reality. That's what the red pill is. Of course, the ending goal is for all of us to influence fucking whores to stop being fucking whores, and to influence men to be leaders, to lead these women to stop being whores. That's the difference here. Okay. So again, it's not the fault of men on why promiscuousness is so rampant here in the United States. Is women literally allowing themselves to that. So that's my argument there. Again, Myron does not promote the neglection of the nuclear family. He doesn't do any of that. He's actually a lot more similar to Kevin Samuels, which Octavio and his crew idolize, which they should do the same fucking establishment to Myron Gaines, because Myron is actually very much more similar to their ideology than what they actually believe to. That's my final thoughts, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Alex, go ahead, bro.
Am I last?
It's up to you, Alex.
Okay, I'll go last. Don't worry.
Okay. I'll give you my thoughts. This is a great conversation. Again, we need to have more of these conversations because I think this is an extremely important topic. As you guys can see, the name of the show is called Dismantling the Red Pill. And this is the purpose of the show here. Of course, Myron Gaines is nowhere near Kevin Samuels' caliber because Kevin Samuels advocated for marriage and and so much so that he actually had a Facebook dedicated to show how many people actually getting married. The entire idea of adding to the promiscuity, which you guys were not able to debunk at all, does not help society. It creates more promiscuous women. It does not men sleeping around, sleeping with 50 women, 20 women, wherever it is. It does not help society. It adds to the problem because when men want to settle down, they want to find, guess what? A traditional woman. They don't want a whore. Well, you've just been creating a bunch of whores, and now you don't want a whore. Why not? You should take responsibilities for your action. So sleeping with 50 women goes against man's best interest when it comes to raising a family, which is the most important thing a man will do. As a result of society become more promiscuous, we have seen the nuclear family going down the drain. We've seen birth rates going down the drain. We are basically seeing the destruction of society as a result of men becoming more promiscuous and women becoming more promiscuous. It doesn't help society at all. So, but yeah, I just want to say also. Lastly, shout outs to Alex, shout outs to Jake, shout outs to Jean-Michel for making this as entertaining as it is, and we need to have more of these guys. Seriously, and I'm going to be hollering at you guys for to join me and Jean-Michel on these different red pill topics. Okay, because if we have you guys here, then people get to hear both sides of the argument, which makes it fair, which is what we are trying to achieve. Yeah, go ahead, Jean-Michel.
I wanted to say about Myron. I don't have a particular issue with Myron. There's one thing I do have an issue with him for, and it's something that I've had an issue growing up also with certain people from different backgrounds. This idea of you kind of have your whole traditional world. You come into the West, and then you do what you want. You live a degenerate life, and then you think, okay, I've done that now. Those women are low level trash that I just use for my sexual urges, and then you go back to your, culture, and then those women are somehow, the sanctimonious ones. I have an issue with that type of thinking for many reasons, because it's just not an honorable way of living. This, in my opinion, to have this view that these women are trash, these women are not trash, and I'm going to have certain standards and loyalty and treat them better just because they're of a certain ethnic group or religion or whatever. I have an issue with that. I don't believe that as human beings, if we've treated other human beings that way. And I have a real issue with that type of thinking. So that's my issue I have with Myron. But I would say at the same time, Myron is not a stupid man. So the stuff that Myron says that absolutely ring true. And I agree with Nelson that he's nowhere on the caliber of Kevin Samuels for many reasons. I think Myron also tends to dabble in the seedy lifestyle, Miami kind of, which I've been many times. It's a very seedy lifestyle there, where they only engage with the certain types of women that I wouldn't give a second look to. And just being a guy looking at, I have an issue with guys that kind of dabble in that kind of, those women anyway. They're not women that I would even give the time of day with. And these seem to be girls that he likes to entertain. I find that weird too, for a man that has so much so-called status, that they think it's okay to even associate with women like that. So that's my issue with Myron. But yeah, in terms of the conversation, a great conversation. I'm really glad you guys got involved. And as Nelson said, it's good to get the other side of the coin and get pushed back, because that makes we have to then refine our arguments, which makes the conversation better.
Alex, go ahead, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say, well, you'll see me again probably on Friday, right? We're doing
Yes.
one at midnight. Okay, yeah, I'm
Yes.
fine with that. I'll be on for that. And also, I mean, look, like I know this is titled "Dismantling the Red Pill," but for me, it's as much dismantling TrackCon ideology as it is Red Pill. We'll let the audience decide, I guess. I just find it really funny how most track-ons who are preaching right now are the ones who have come out of a high body count lifestyle. It's just a really funny observation for me. I mean, I'll talk more. I don't want to say more than that because I mean, yeah, but I guess like look, this really boils down to a difference in methodology because we both want the same outcome of eliminating, let's say, useless women. I will push back on JM, on what Jean said because I don't think that I think people who deserve to be disrespected should be disrespected. There's no protectionism against. I've said this before. There's no protectionism that you get simply from being a woman or simply from being a man. If you are not deserving of respect, I will not give you respect. And I think the suggestion by the Tracons on how to resolve these issues, which is basically laying down even further and trusting that women are going to do the right thing, is, well, number one, it's beyond naive, and number two, it's not been historically supported. Um, well, I can probably concede that fighting fire with fire, which is what we are suggesting, is not an optimal solution. It is far better than what Tracons are proposing. And I mean, we'll talk about this more in time. But I mean, great panel. Hope to see you guys more again soon and a few new faces. I like having my ideas challenged. It sharpens my mind. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jean-Michel. This is the entire idea, guys. All right. It's about having these honest conversations. And yeah, they get heated at times. That's how it is. That's how men talk. That's how men think. That's what it is. So we need to keep having these conversations. We have to. All right. And thank you guys for joining the panel. And Jake, I'm gonna be in contact with you via Twitter, basically just to let you know when you're available next and when you can join us for
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys want to create a WhatsApp group or something? Because like it's or like
Good idea.
yeah,
But
let's
we
do
have
it.
one already. But you can add them to the one we have already if you want, Nelson. You got one.
Oh yeah. That's good.
Absolutely,
To
absolutely.
Rashid.
Yeah. Jake, send me your number. I'll add you to the group as well. Not a problem. And
Yeah, for sure. Just let. Yeah. Hit me up, bro. I'm down for anything. You already know.
Appreciate that, bro. You've got me on Twitter, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I got you on Twitter, bro.
Just send me information and add you to the group, and let's make it happen, guys. Yeah. Till next time, my brothers. See you next great episode.
Yes.
Take care.
Peace.
Great episode. Peace, guys. Peace.